Common Spirit Health Studios. This is KSL News Radio,
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
9 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top story this hour. We're now learning a man has been taken to jail following a fatal auto pedestrian crash in Provo last night. This happened near 900 South and 100 West. Police say 80-year-old Mario Valer died shortly after he was hit by a pickup truck at this location. Jana Lee Holland with the Provo Police Department says there is no crosswalk there.
Take that extra time, that extra beat to pause and make sure that there is enough time, space for you to safely cross, or just walk that extra distance to find a crosswalk.
Police have since arrested the truck driver, 42-year-old Jason Phillips. He's being accused of DUI and automobile homicide. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. 2 reports released today offer a look at the nation's employment picture.
Because the government shutdown earlier this year halted work at the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the latest jobs report actually combines 2 consecutive months of data. It shows that 64,000 jobs were added to the economy last month, slightly above expectations, with the unemployment rate ticking up slightly to 4.6%. Meanwhile, the advance estimate of retail sales showed little change from September to October. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Your money at this moment, perhaps in reaction to the jobs numbers, the Dow is down 147 points to 48,269. Coming up, we're looking at clouds today with a chance of showers tomorrow. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 9:01.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Is your financial advisor offering you up to a 30% upfront bonus? Or are they promising you up to 10% growth per year, all for your retirement income? If not, then you need to come to Trajan Wealth. I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth. If you have a plan to retire within the next 10 years, don't wait only to find out it's too late. I've seen hardworking folks like you retire only to be required to go back to work, all because their advisor told them guarantees like these were too good to be true. They're not. That's up to $30,000 upfront or up to $10,000 per year on $100,000, all guaranteed for retirement income. Don't keep working when you're supposed to be retired, and don't let any financial advisor tell you it's too good to be true. Call Trajan today, 801-207-9900. That's 801-207-9900.
Annuities, not advisory products. DBA Trajan Wealth Insurance Solutions. Additional disclosures at TrajanWealth.com.
It's the time of year when family gathers and we spend more time inside our homes. The last thing you want to worry about is the health and cleanliness of your carpets. With the rush of the holidays, no one has time to tackle that job alone. So let Zerorez Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning handle it for you. Most people don't realize the impact carpets can have on your health. Trapped dust and debris affect the air you breathe and the way your home feels. Zerorez uses patented technology with no detergents or harsh chemicals, which leaves your carpets cleaner for longer and safe for kids and pets. And if you're not satisfied, they'll re-clean any areas for free within 30 days. Right now, you can get 3 rooms clean for $129 when you mention KSL. Refresh your home before the holiday craziness. Call 866-ZERORES or go to Zerorez.com. Spelled the same forwards or backwards. Zerorez is the right way to clean.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. Here's Jason Jones.
Andy, the only trouble spot that we've got is eastbound on I-80, just before Summit Park. We have an accident with a pickup truck facing the wrong direction over next to the barrier on the left. The one that was on the right shoulder is gone now, so that's the only one that's left. A couple of emergency vehicles on scene. A little bit slow through that stretch, but really no major backups. If you're northbound I-15, it's going to be pretty much free and clear. From Payson all the way up to downtown Salt Lake City, we're not really seeing any delays. Likewise, coming south out of Weber and Davis counties. The only other trouble spot is the heavy delays eastbound on 2100 North and Pioneer Crossing in Lehigh. Looking for the ultimate holiday gift? That's what you get at Minky Couture, the original luxury blanket company. Use code KSL50 online and in stores to receive 50% off. Visit minkycouture.com. I'm Jason Jones in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather forecast today, cloudy with a high of 49 degrees, and the haze will get thicker, but a small storm moving in tomorrow could help clear the air with some rain in the valleys. Right now it's cloudy and 34 degrees in Salt Lake City. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Welcome to another edition of Inside Sources. I'm Greg Skordas alongside Holly Richardson, and a group of Salt Lake County residents are taking a stand against a nearly 14% property tax hike and rallying their neighbors to put this decision back into the voters' hands with a referendum. Now, referendum, Holly, is a word that we've heard recently
so many times
in other capacities here. But what's happened here, and maybe you can bring us up to speed a little better than I will, in this case, it's Salt Lake County officials who have proposed a 14% property tax hike, and Salt Lake County residents, some who are taking issue with that and may want to put together a referendum for the 2026 ballot to essentially do away with that.
So I think that they have passed this, and if you remember, the conversation started with an almost 21% hike. And so they were able to get it down to 14%. That does include closing the daycares that were in the rec facilities, but not closing the senior center. But yeah, I think this is a done deal. And now this referendum is to say, can the voters have some of that?
Let me ask you this:
saying that
there was a bond issue.
Yeah,
on the ballot last time. Mm-hmm. And I'm wondering if this is Salt Lake County's way, because they lost that. That was a bond issue to purchase, I think, the Oxbow jail property, create a large sort of justice center out there, homeless center and mental health facilities. That bond didn't pass, and I'm wondering if this is Salt Lake County saying, okay, well, let's try Plan B.
Well, right. That's exactly right. I mean, you still have the needs, at least what they perceive as needs, right? And so you have things that need to be paid for and met. And it's interesting, this tax hike, this of 14%, about 14%, this is one that was voted on by both Republicans and Democrats on the county council. So we have one of the people behind the referendum. It's Gad Maragani, who was a former candidate for Salt Lake County Clerk. Welcome this morning.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's great to be on.
Thanks. I'm wondering if you can just start off by telling us why the referendum?
Yeah, after the council passed the 14% tax increase, I started getting a lot of calls from people and text messages, and it was from people across the political spectrum saying, look, what can we do? We are stretched thin. Our budgets are just stretched thin because of all the inflation that's happened for the past few years, and we do not have more money to give for a tax increase like this. And we did some research and realized that, and just to put it like this, we can't impact the price of a lot of things that have gone up. So I can't impact the price of food. I can't impact the price of homes. But we can control whether our property taxes go up, and so we decided that we're going to go for this referendum, and we're going to put this on the ballot so voters can decide if they are okay with the tax increase.
So tell us how it works, Gad. Salt Lake County officials have passed the measure, apparently, at least Holly indicated that, and now you and others are gathering signatures to go on the ballot in the 2026 election, which would, in effect, do away with that measure. And what you need, and maybe I'm jumping too far ahead here, is 7.75% of the registered voters, which is, we've heard different numbers, but something like 45 or 50,000 signatures.
Yeah, that's right. Right now, we have not started collecting signatures yet. First, the county clerk has to approve the referendum to go on the ballot. And so they have, I think, 20 business days to be able to do that and to go through the process. Once it's approved, then we can start collecting signatures. And you're correct. We have to collect 7.75% of signatures from registered voters in Salt Lake County. It's about 45,000 signatures, and we'll have 45 days to do that.
Is that 45 days from the time the county clerk's office says, yes, okay, you can do this?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. And then do you have to get a certain percentage in different parts of the county, or is it just the county as a whole?
No, that's a great point. We have to collect signatures from 75% of the voter participation areas in the county. The clerk's office right now is doing some research about what those voter participation areas look like, but there's not a minimum number of signatures from each area.
So let me ask you this, Gowd. Salt Lake County, both Republican and Democratic members of the council believe that we have to get some additional funds. I think it's mostly for public safety and whatnot. Are you against any increase, or what do you think? What's the overall message that you're trying to send here?
Yeah, we're against any tax increase at this point. They have a $2 billion budget. The amount of money they're trying to bring in through this tax increase is $36.5 million. They could cut their budget by less than 2% and avoid this tax increase. Families are doing this all the time throughout Salt Lake County and throughout Utah. They're trying to do their best with the money that they have with all the increases in prices that are happening. And I guarantee you that when they sit around their dining table, they've cut 2% of their budget without it impacting what the family is able to do. I think our county council can go back and they can make the cuts that are necessary to avoid the tax increase. And in fact, there were suggestions made by people that are budget experts. For example, Phil Lyman had a DOGE committee, and they came up with some really great ideas for cutting the budget that would not actually impact families. So one of them was cutting the number of deputy mayors, because Mayor Wilson right now has 3 deputy mayors, 3 associate deputy mayors, and a chief of staff. And previous mayors have actually been fine with just having 1 deputy mayor. So there are plenty of areas for cuts that can be made without actually impacting families that depend on services from the county.
One final question. You talked about the Salt Lake County Clerk's Office. Did they already have the proposed referendum? Or are you still in process of drafting that?
No, we turned it in yesterday.
Okay.
And in fact, yesterday was the deadline to be able to file the petition for a referendum. So we got it in yesterday. We had 12 co-sponsors, and they will all be helping organize this effort and get out there and collect the signatures we need to put this on the ballot.
Okay, and you should be hearing back maybe the first of the year?
Yeah, I think so. Like I said, they have something like 20 business days to do it, so I think we'll hear from them after the holidays.
Okay.
Maybe that's for the best.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thanks for joining us. That was Gowd Maragani, and he is one of the people behind this referendum. I'm interested in hearing from voters. Listeners and voters. Should voters get the final say on tax increases, or do you trust elected officials to make the right call on raising taxes? You can call us. It's 801-575-TALK. You can text us at 57500. And look, we've talked about this before on our show. Property taxes feel personal because I guess you see the tax bill right in front of your eyeballs.
Right. And we talked with, who was it?
It was Billy Hesterman just recently. So smart,
about the sort of the three-legged
That's right,
approach to taxes.
The three-legged stool.
Property taxes, income tax, and sales tax.
That's right.
And that it's healthy, I think, was the take that he had, to have some come from each of those sources, but not necessarily overburden one leg.
He did also say, right, that the property taxes do feel more personal because you get one tax bill, right, that comes from the county. Here's your valuation. And he said sometimes he thinks if we saw like a bill, you have to write a check that for this year's sales tax or this year's income tax, maybe it would be more personal. But anyway, if you want to weigh in on this, should voters get the final say on tax increases? 801-575-TALK or text us 57500.
You know, it was one thing when I was paying a mortgage and there was a little bit coming out every month for my taxes.
I know.
And I know this is goofy to say, but my house is paid for. So we just get this huge... I'm complaining about something I don't really have a right to complain about, but suddenly we were writing these huge checks last week. I'm like, oh my word.
Well, and we still have a mortgage, but you're right. I don't see it as much because even though I can get the paper in the mail, it comes out with the monthly payment. But I think to Gowd's point, and a lot of other people who who have concerns about this is you've got people on fixed incomes, which means that their income doesn't go up even if their tax bill does go up, right? And so it can become tricky.
On the other hand, Salt Lake County hasn't had a tax increase for a while and probably needs a little extra money.
And we're going to talk about that as well because we do have a statement from them. So stay with us over the break.
When you need a new water heater, you need it right now.
Yep, can't wait on that.
When you need a new furnace or a new air conditioner come the summertime, you need it right now. So Superior Water and Air has a wonderful program where they can help you with financing. If you need it, get it today and pay it off when you get your tax refund or just over time.
And that's one of the great things is they have multiple financing options. It's not just one, okay, you've got to do it this way. It's, you can wait till just after your tax refund. Well, what if you need no payments until later in the year?
Yeah.
They can work with you like that because, look, they want to help you get you back on your feet with the thing that doesn't work that you got to use.
Yeah.
And they'll just work with your situation. What a great way to do it.
I loved introducing you to my friends at Superior because they're just great people. And when you invite somebody into your home, you want to feel good about them.
Yeah, and they're so customer-centric. That was what really impressed me was they wanted to work with me and my family, whatever needs we might have.
Right. They want your home to be safe and clean. Superior Water and Air. Here's the number, 801-872-8483, or go to superiorwaterandair.com.
Hi, this is Doug Wright. The other night with my wife, Dee, we saw Frozen at Hale Center Theater, and it was delightful. I have a little confession. You know the song, Let It Go? My little granddaughters sing that so much that I'm afraid I haven't fully appreciated it until I saw it performed at Hale Center Theater. The artistry of the presentation and the staging brought that song to life for me. I have become a true believer. And the puppetry at Hale Center Theater, when they bring Sven out and when they have Olaf, you are going to love it. And don't forget they have special presentations of Frozen where you can bring the younger kids. We've already got that booked for our family. It's Frozen on the stage right now at Hale Center Theater. And of course, you've got to make sure you get your tickets for A Christmas Carol. It always sells out. And by the way, Frozen is selling out very, very fast. Go to hct.org and lock down those tickets. Get season tickets for the holidays and so much more. hct.org.
This holiday season, give the gift of love that lasts a lifetime with Duke's Jewelers. For over 75 years, the Dukes family has been part of Utah Valley's story, helping yours celebrate life's most cherished moments since 1948. Dukes is more than a jewelry store. They're craftsmen, creating timeless pieces and custom designs that capture the magic of the holidays. Whether it's a sparkling necklace, a custom ring, or restoring a family heirloom, Duke's Jewelers pours their heart into every gift. Because jewelry isn't just about sparkle, it's about love and legacy. This Christmas, make your loved one feel like part of the Dukes family. Find the perfect gift at Duke's Jewelers, located at 220 South Main in Springville, or shop online at dukesjewelers.com. Duke's Jewelers, celebrating love and tradition since 1948.
I'm Andrew Saul, Commissioner of Social Security. Beware of telephone scammers pretending to be government employees. Real Social Security employees will never threaten you. Callers threatening you with arrest or other legal action and demanding money are not from us. If you receive a call like this, hang up, do not provide them with any form of payment or information. Report the call at oig.ssa.gov.
My friend Joey means well.
Always remember that the early bird gathers no moss.
But he gets a little confused.
You know, you can't make a silk purse out of a wooden nickel.
Like Joey, many of us can be confused when it comes time to plan for retirement. When to take Social Security, how to use that 401k, what about the stock market, taxes, and Medicare? Todd Kim at Galileo Wealth Management can help to simplify retirement planning. His goal is to have you walk into retirement with confidence, not worry, and to address the number one concern among retirees today, the fear of running out of money. Call Galileo Wealth today for a no-cost, no-obligation meeting to talk about the details of your retirement. 385-247-7000. It's 385-247-7000 or online, GalileoWealth.com. And remember,
one man's trash is thicker than water. Of course, water's not thick at all. It's watery.
Join Lagoon's construction team and help build the fun. Lagoon is now hiring full-time, year-round CDL heavy equipment operators, concrete finishers, and plumbers, 18 years or older. Apply at lagoonpark.com/jobs.
When I have an asthma attack, I feel scared.
Prevent your child's next asthma attack. Call 1-866-NO-ATTACKS. Visit www.noattacks.org or call your doctor, because even one attack is one too many. Brought to you by the EPA and the Ad Council.
And expanded Inside Sources. Inside Sources.
Following up on our conversation in Salt Lake County, where Salt Lake County residents, at least a group of Salt Lake County residents, are putting together what could be a referendum to put on the ballot in 2026 a decision to reverse what the Salt Lake County Council did recently, which was to increase property taxes by 14%, in part for public safety, for other expenses in Salt Lake County. And we haven't had an increase in Salt Lake County for a while, but some people feel that there's plenty of money to go around and they don't really need a 14% increase. What they could do is, according to our last guest, a 2% decrease in their expenses, which would be the same thing.
Right. So we want to hear from you, and we are all ready. We have a caller on the line. We'll get to you in just 1 second, and we have multiple texts. But should voters get the final say on tax increases, or do you trust elected officials to make the right call? You can call us at 801-575-TALK or text us at 57500. And right now on the line, we have John from South Jordan. Hi, John. Thanks for joining us today.
Good morning. How are you guys doing today?
We're good. What's your opinion on tax increases?
Well, I'm getting sick and tired of the schools, because the schools are part of this problem. I mean, when Harriman recommends or wants to spend $750,000 on a greenhouse, that's a bunch of garbage. This all adds up and goes on our taxes. And the safety, again, like I say, I don't trust the officials because they're all out to take more money from us, and they better start cutting.
Well, thanks for that. And, John, you have a point that there are multiple entities who can raise taxes. It's not just cities. It's the city. It's the state. It's special service districts. It means your sewer. It's the school district. I mean, there's a lot of different places where we can be hit.
And transparency, I think, is really important here, Holly, because Salt Lake County Council has to, at least, I believe, say, okay, we need this 14% because we need money for the jail. We need money for law enforcement. We need money for whatever it happens to be, homeless. That would help the taxpayers understand exactly what they're doing and why this property tax increase, instead of, hey, we just got too big for.
Well, they do have to have truth in taxation hearings, right? And that's been a change actually through the Utah legislature. And this calendar year that we're coming to the end of, there were multiple tax increase proposals that did not go through because of these truth and taxation hearings. Let me read you some of the texts. So we have one texter that say, yes, voters should have the final say. And the next one says, no, the elected officials should have the final say. We elect them to make the hard decisions. But maybe the issue is they waited so long instead of making gradual tax increases. Another texter says, having been involved in many budget processes in a municipality, the callers are oversimplifying this idea. It sounds like they already either cut or thrown off the table services and positions to bring their original ask down nearly 6%. At some point, county agencies can't cut anymore without becoming operational. Public safety, for example, now often relies on grants to fund overtime shifts just to stay above the call load and keep their personnel safe. Good insights. One says, with home prices going through the roof and property taxes being a percentage of that, as well as a big push for home building, I'm a little surprised that alone isn't enough.
And this was a bipartisan statement from the Salt Lake County Council. I don't know whether they've responded to our request for a statement or they've issued their own public statement in support of this. But
we were gonna read that. Yeah. So this is from members of the Salt Lake County Council and Mayor Wilson in response to the referendum application that happened yesterday. This is a quote, a referendum that overturns a property tax increase will have serious implications for funding critical county operations, including public safety, our largest statutory obligation. Overturning a county tax increase does not eliminate the underlying county costs or mandated responsibilities. Rather, it simply shifts how and whether the county can meet them, ultimately forcing reductions in critical services, especially for our most vulnerable, and will eventually lead to the need for an even greater tax increase down the road. As the most populous county in the state, the increased revenue for our general fund is critical to meeting the growing needs and interests of our residents. And then there's like 4 more paragraphs.
Yeah, it's a little bit vague, however. I mean, they do say including public safety, which is our largest, our largest percent of our money goes to that, but they don't really say, like we talked about a minute ago, we need 3 more police officers. We need additional facilities at the jail. We need, additional fire station out in Harriman, whatever it happens to be. It seems like they're just saying, well, we just need more money. And I think that the voters probably should have a really good understanding of where this money is going to go and why we need the 14% increase.
Yeah, and I think they can get that. They're pretty transparent on their budget. But let me tell you, we have a lot of texts. So this texter says, regarding taxes in general, yes, the taxpayers should be the ones to give the final okay as to whether taxes go up or down. Politicians and especially bureaucrats view our money as their money. It's not. It's our money, the taxpayers' money. They don't have a problem with us having to cut our own home budgets, but they can't seem to do the same for some reason. Also, my property taxes should never go up. I'm retired. I cannot afford to keep paying more and more and more for my property. It's my property, not the government's. Another texter says, I know I will receive a property tax bill every fall, so every month I put a set amount into a separate savings account at my credit union. I still pay the same amount to the county, but it hurts less. Right? Another one says, voters should have a say. Another one says, I don't trust lawmakers, but having referendums or referenda to control taxes gets too many people involved in the budget process. It seems like more transparency, that would be to your point, and accountability in taxes and budgets is a better fix.
And there's part 2 of this. Let's say they get the 45,000 signatures. Let's say they get the referendum. They get something on the ballot.
Then they have to pass.
Right. The voters might still say, well, we almost like a bond issue.
Yeah.
We still feel like we need the money, so they would vote it down.
Yeah. There's another texter that says government agencies get tax increases as property values have gone up, right? And I understand that, right? Because as your value goes up, then your tax bill goes up, even if the tax rate doesn't change.
14% is not an insignificant amount. However, when you look at $64.92 on a $638,000 house, that doesn't seem like a lot. But I mean, that's easy for me to say, but $64.92 is, I don't know, it doesn't seem like a huge increase.
We've had this conversation before, and we had callers and texters then tell us that they feel like that is underestimating how much their increase actually is.
Right.
We do have another one that has a business, actually, and they say they would like to say that they trust their elected officials, but this tax increase started at almost 30% for my business. I think that is very irresponsible to ask for that kind of tax increase. So no, I do not trust those officials in making those decisions.
We don't think about these referendums often. I mean, it seems like a phenomenon we don't talk about much, but there was and maybe you can sort of fill in the blanks, but there was a recent voter signature gathering with respect to the public
union bill.
Public union bill.
Yeah, the law. Yeah. So you're right. So that one has been taken off the table because they have stricken the law. So the Utah legislators got together in special session. They did a bunch of stuff on redistricting, and they also invalidated, basically struck it off the books, the law that prohibited public sector unions from collective bargaining.
So that was a statewide issue, obviously, and it was the legislature, not the county council. But they had to have been persuaded, or at least, encouraged, maybe that's not the right word, but by the number of signatures that were gathered. They must have felt like this is probably going to go. There's something like 300,000 signatures.
Yes, and they needed 150. They got more than double what they needed to actually get that on the ballot. And now it's not going to be on the ballot.
Right.
So there's a little bit more from this statement that I wanted to read from the county council. And they say this: funding for countywide operations from the jail to Meals on Wheels to flood control to election integrity and services for seniors would also be directly and negatively impacted by a reversal of the property tax increase. Salt Lake County follows the Truth in Taxation law, which ensures that the county's property tax revenues don't increase when property values rise. Interesting. In response to the emails and hours of public comment, the Salt Lake County Council identified $12.4 million in budget cuts, reducing the expected cost to about $5.41 per month for a home valued at $638,000.
Yeah, I mean, that was the number we talked about.
Yeah, that's right.
$64 over the course of a year.
Yep.
We'll see where this goes, but I would expect that if in fact this group that's gathering signatures gets this flood of signatures like the public unions got, that maybe the county council is going to say, hey, wait a minute. But they've only got 40 days.
45 days after
45
their
days.
petition is approved. So that'll be sometime probably before the legislative
To
session
get
is over.
45,000 signatures
Yeah. Just in Salt Lake County, though.
Yeah, may not be that easy. We come back after the break. The campus community of Brown University remains on edge after a shooting that left 2 dead and 9 injured. However, the shooter is still hasn't been located. Authorities now have released new video and images of the suspected gunman. We'll come back with the latest developments on that after this.
9:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top story this hour, the Utah immigrant who was arrested by ICE right before his green card interview is set to be released from ICE custody sometime in the next 24 hours. An immigration judge has granted Jair Solis a $5,000 bond. His attorney says once that payment is processed, he'll be released from ICE custody and in Arizona and return home to his wife and child here in Utah. Solis' attorney says he's confident he'll get his green card approved after he returns home. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Police in California say they stopped a bomb plot plan that was set to cause chaos on New Year's Eve. Here's ABC's Alex Malin, who has more on suspects who were part of an anti-government group.
And these arrests actually took place last Friday when prosecutors say that they all convened in the Mojave Desert, where they got together around a table, and there were pictures in this complaint where they, put all of their materials that they had gathered over the past couple of weeks, and they started to construct these pipe bombs. They put up a tent that prosecutors said was in order to shield the components of the pipe bombs from the sun. And then as they were about to, put the final touches on creating these pipe bombs, that's when federal agents moved in and effectuated these arrests last Friday.
The group of suspects were part of what is called the Turtle Island Liberation Front. Your money at this moment, the stocks are struggling as Wall Street ponders the impact of the latest jobs data. The Dow down 252 points to 48,163. Coming up, we could see rain in the next day or two. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 9:31.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-$300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code BOOST25 to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code BOOST25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code BOOST25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Hey, this is Dan, the laptop man from PC Laptops. Imagine struggling with a slow, outdated computer that takes forever to load anything, that randomly freezes up and is filled with viruses and malware.
Now picture yourself with a powerful desktop or laptop that runs smoothly and efficiently, making your work and entertainment seamless.
Take one home today. The new 2025 S1 desktop or SM3 laptop for only $999. You heard that right, $999. You get a blazing fast processor, 16 gigs of RAM, and over a terabyte of blazing storage for $999. What else do you get? Lifetime service warranty, and we have 12 months special financing on approved credit. Hurry in right now because supplies are limited, because at PC Laptops, we love you. Just check us out at PCLaptops.com. $999, PCLaptops.com.
You know, most diets will help you lose a few pounds, but Soda Weight Loss will help you lose years. I lost 37 pounds on the Soda Weight Loss program 3 years ago, and I feel younger than I've felt in decades. And it's not because of how I look, it's because of how I feel.
But you do look younger,
Thank
too.
you.
I let go of 70 pounds in 5 months, and then I looked at the before and after pictures of myself and was like, wow.
It's something when you don't have to carry all of that excess weight around. And I was at a stage in my life where I didn't want to add drugs to my regimen. I wanted to reduce the number of medications I had to take. So the nutritionist at Soda Weight Loss taught me how to have a healthy relationship with food.
And it was so helpful that I could text my nutritionist anytime I wanted to for advice, which helped me learn what I needed to know so that I could keep it off. And right now, this is the perfect time to join, because if you join now, your partner joins for free. It's the perfect gift for both of you.
It's at Soda Weight Loss.
SOTAweightloss.com, because soda is, say it with me, Amanda, state of the art. Traffic and weather together brought to you by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. Jason Jones, what do you got?
Well, Andy, the accident that we had eastbound in I-80 in Parley's Canyon has been cleared, so you don't have to worry about that anymore. And in fact, all accidents have been cleared. There's really no major problems at all. We are seeing a little bit slowing eastbound on Bangerter Highway as you head over towards I-15. Construction barrels are out on Bangerter Highway, and that's what's going to do it. So right around 8th West-ish is about where that place is. But that's really it. Otherwise, there's no accidents on I-15. You're going to be running smooth, good speeds north and southbound from Payson all the way up to Ogden. No problems at all. A little slow still eastbound on 2100 north in Lehigh, but otherwise, it's a pretty nice commute. The rescue mission of Salt Lake restores lives of homeless and hurting people by addressing the cause of homelessness and helping people return to work. Help Rescue Mission restore lives. Donate at rescuesaltlake.org. I'm Jason Jones in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather today, 49 degrees, looking at a high with cloudy and building haze. But there is a small storm that should pass through tomorrow, which could help clear the air with some rain and a high of 54 degrees. Right now, it's hazy and 36 degrees in Salt Lake City. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Well, you get no shortage of replies when you start saying, well, we're going to talk about tax increases now. And we were going to move on to this Brown University thing. We will in just a minute. But it seems like we've attracted a little bit of interest with some of our listeners this morning.
Yeah, we have at least a half a dozen more that came in as we were ending the last segment, but I want to focus on a few. One texter says, I think the follow-up is to point out that all costs have increased for everyone, including the cost for all the services in the county, gas, construction materials, etc. And this texter says it really bothers them when we go to language that dehumanizes our officials. These council members are also our neighbors and will be affected by this increase. Another one says, my property taxes have gone up 60% in the last 3 years. And
yeah, so I always thought, Holly, that just because your property valuation went up, it didn't necessarily equate to an equivalent rise in your taxes. Otherwise, I don't know that we would ever be having tax increases, because home value increases are going up so much that you know what I mean? It would seem like you'd fill that gap. Maybe I just heard that wrong, but I just thought that, so your house is worth $300,000. A couple of years later, it's worth $600,000. It doesn't mean necessarily that you're going to pay
that your taxes have doubled. And we've had a couple of texters tell us that's true, and a couple of texters say they feel like their taxes have gone up as their house valuation has gone up. And I think that it probably has, whether it was because it went up because the house value went up or because these taxing entities are taxing more. I know down in my area, our school district increased taxes, our municipality increased taxes, and what else? Property taxes. I think the county increased taxes. And then I have this perspective as well, which is a really good reminder. And this texter says that her husband and herself, her husband and her,
She and her husband.
She and her husband served an 18-month mission in Ghana, and they saw what it was like not to have public services. And I've seen this too: trash in all the streets, no garbage pickup, no libraries, no public schools, nothing. And at the time, she says she learned to appreciate what we have in America, and even told her husband she will not complain about paying taxes again.
And I have to say that the authorities here, both at the state and the local level, have done a fairly good job, Holly, of making sure that services are provided, that taxes are not off the charts. I don't know where we are nationally in terms of tax rate. I think from Billy Hesterman the other day, we're a little bit on the high side.
We are number 12 out of 50.
Right. So, but we generally do. I mean, the services are provided, and I think that most of our legislative bodies do the best they can to be fair.
All right, let's switch to Brown University. So, this was one of the things that happened over the weekend, right? We had a shooter go into basically a lecture hall where they were preparing for finals and open fire. There were 9 injured, 2 killed, and they haven't caught the guy.
No, this is day 4 of that manhunt, and it was. I mean, we had a manhunt here in Utah after the Charlie Kirk shooting, and what happened was, and it happened in fairly short order, police started releasing pictures of the gunman, and based on that, we started getting leads, and of course, Tyler Robinson was what's his name? Anyway, the shooter was arrested. The Charlie Kirk shooter. I've now forgotten his name.
No, that is his name.
Okay. Yeah, it didn't seem right all of a sudden. And anyway, they've done the same thing here, was my point. The police have started releasing some photos, some information they have. It appears to be what they're saying is a male 5'8" with a stocky build, and he did enter that building at 2 p.m. on Saturday. Students they must have been preparing, like you say, for an exam or something, because 2 o'clock on a Saturday.
Right. It was final preparation as they were headed into finals week.
And now I'm told that they've announced a $50,000 reward for someone that gives information leading to an arrest and a conviction.
So we have ABC's Whit Johnson, who described what authorities were sharing in these new surveillance videos.
Authorities sharing new surveillance videos and the clearest images yet of a person of interest in the Brown University mass shooting. The individual seen just hours prior to Saturday afternoon's deadly rampage, masked and wearing dark clothing, crossing the street in a residential area near campus.
Yeah, and what happens also is that people are wondering why. I mean, you have that Bondi Beach shooting in Australia where it was clear that it was a targeted anti-Semitic attack, no question. This one is one of those school shootings where you don't know what the gunman had, what he was doing, what his motivation was just to walk into a school. And these kids that were killed, they've been showing pictures of them. I mean, they're just kids. They're just
young, both of
them
young. Yeah, one of them was a freshman, I think.
Right.
The other one was also quite young.
Right.
So despite no arrests being made in this shooting, the mayor of Providence, Brett Smiley, says students and residents should feel safe.
I understand why there is deep discomfort. However, we have a very safe community with a lot of law enforcement resources at our disposal right now.
You know, and it would have been a large number, I assume, of federal, state, local agents coming into that area. We're talking about Providence, Rhode Island. In a shooting like this, they're calling it a mass shooting, which I mean, I'm sure there's some definitions for that because even though 2 were killed, 9 were injured, and it was a gunman that comes into an area and just starts shooting it up. But I'll bet that they've got FBI agents swarming into that town pretty quickly, and it's not a small city either, so you would expect the local and state authorities to be on this as well.
Yeah, and I'm going to read you just the internet definition of mass shooting in the United States. It generally involves one or more shooters targeting multiple victims that are either injured and or killed in a public space with the common criteria of 4 or more shot or killed, excluding the shooter. And so we already have 11 here. Right?
Yeah.
So it's interesting because we were talking about this yesterday and we were saying they canceled the rest of the semester, basically. So everybody getting ready for finals, final projects, everything, it's all done. Brown University, the semester's over. But there's other schools in the area as well, some private schools, public schools, and we have some information about that as well.
A number of private schools and colleges in the area are now closed. Also, some after-school programs canceled due to the trauma of this tragedy. Meantime, back here at the crime scene, the FBI is rushing in more resources here, including additional lab personnel and evidence response teams.
So, on the one hand, the mayor of Providence doing what he should, and probably is best to say, don't worry, students should feel safe. On the other hand, the authorities are saying, we're keeping this closed. We're closing other schools. We're not going back to school. I mean, there is some semblance that, hey, we're not going back to normal, in part because anytime you have a situation like this where the suspect is still on the loose,
that's right,
people have reason to be fearful.
And remember, they had a person of interest, and they interviewed that person, released that person, and said there's no more interest in that person. It's not the person that committed these crimes.
Yeah, at least they don't have enough information to say that that's the person, but they probably wouldn't have released him or her unless they felt
they also had a statement yesterday where they said there's just no ongoing investigation going down that path, basically.
But they're certainly going a lot of other directions.
Yes, they are.
Well, after the murders of Rob Reiner and his wife, President Trump made a statement on social media blaming Reiner for his own death. We will talk about that later, and even some remarks from Republican lawmakers concerned about his statements. Stay with us.
From holiday hosting to unforgettable gifts, Omaha Steaks delivers the world's best steak experience. And now, during their Sizzle All the Way sale, you can get 50% off site-wide at omahasteaks.com. Plus, our listeners get an extra $35 off with promo code SKY at checkout. I was lucky enough to receive Omaha Steaks as a gift, and it was everything I had hoped for. Items were individually packaged so I could cook for the entire family. Or if I was the only one home, I would treat myself with a delicious steak, sides, and even dessert. I loved those nights by myself. Right now is the perfect time to save on delicious gifts and holiday hosting favorites. Every steak is perfectly aged to maximize tenderness and hand-cut by master butchers in America's heartland. It's holiday magic made easy. Save big on gourmet gifts and more holiday favorites with Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com for 50% off site-wide during their Sizzle All the Way sale. And for an extra $35 off, use promo code SKY at checkout. Terms apply. See site for details. That's omahasteaks.com, code SKY.
You trust us for news and information in your car. Now trust us at home. KSL News Radio has you covered, keeping you informed on the latest breaking news, weather, traffic, sports, and more. Listen on your Amazon Echo or Google Home device. Just say, Alexa, open KSL News Radio. Or listen on the KSL News Radio Listen app. Text the word app to 57500. KSL News Radio. We have you covered.
Well, winter is coming fast. Cold weather is coming fast, and a lot of kids here in Utah don't have warm coats and shoes that they need to get them through the upcoming cold months.
KSL's Quarters for Christmas has been helping local children for years, turning your donations into warm coats and shoes for the kids right here in our own community.
And you should know that every dollar you give goes directly toward providing coats and shoes for kids who need them most. It's easy to make a difference. Go online to kslquarters.com, donate whatever you can, and know that you're helping keep a child warm this winter.
Please join us in spreading a little comfort and a lot of kindness with KSL's Quarters for Christmas.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with the Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime.
Our entry-level data plans start at just $20 a month. And for a limited time, switch and get your second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you and get your second month free today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional details.
I'm Jordan Wilcox, your Utah tax attorney. When life gets overwhelming, some things tend to fall by the side.
I'm Carlos Sanchez from Draper, Utah. I was managing a business, helping out a business, doing paperwork and getting paid, and my wife got sick. We filed taxes, but then we got audited. And when I went and talked to the IRS, they didn't give me any choice. The IRS pretty much said, this is what you owe us, when are you gonna pay us? And we're talking quite a bit. But every time I drive, I listen to the radio. Jordan Wilcox, Jordan Wilcox. So I figure there's a reason these guys on the radio. So I called them.
Put an end to IRS collection and aggression today.
The amount that the IRS came up with, close to $250,000, and the offer and compromise was about $7,600. That's it.
This is Utah tax attorney Jordan Wilcox. Let's solve your IRS nightmare. Visit endtaxworry.com.
Go for it. The outcome, it was worth it. I'm okay.
EndTaxWorry.com.
Are you within 3 years of filing for Social Security? You've heard about delaying your benefits to get a bigger benefits check, right? But guess what? That could be a huge mistake. When you consider your taxes, Medicare premiums, and other benefits, you could potentially get more income by filing early. Find out the precise timing that could get you the most money possible with a free, customized Social Security analysis from Boss Retirement Solutions. If you've saved more than $300,000 and have not filed for Social Security, schedule your free analysis now by calling 801-896-9622. Don't leave one dime on the table that's rightfully yours. Schedule your free analysis now by calling 801-896-9622. That's 801-896-9622.
Boss Retirement Solutions is not affiliated with the Social Security Administration.
Any Hour Services can help you make sure your furnace keeps you warm this winter. Whether you need a tune-up, a repair, or a second opinion about replacing it, call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
Inside Sources.
Well, following up on a story we talked about last week, bond has been granted for the Utah man that was detained by ICE during his final green card interview. If you recall, Jair Solis was arrested by Immigration and Customs Enforcement during what was supposed to be his final green card interview in Salt Lake City. This was last week. It prompted a lot of chaos on social media, even within our own newsroom, because we were trying to find information about it. Adam Small contacted Homeland Security, and this is his report about that interview.
I asked the Department of Homeland Security for comment regarding a tweet from the department's official X account, which called a Utah immigrant a, quote, sodomite and child abuser. The Assistant Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security then sent me an email to my KSL address this morning, a portion of which reads, quote, DHS stands by arresting a sodomite and child abuser, and we believe it was completely appropriate to alert the public about one less sicko off America's streets. Get a grip, end quote. They also sent me information taken from a jail booking sheet when Jair Solis was arrested in 2014 and used that info to back up their claims.
The Department of Homeland Security is relying on that jail booking sheet as proof of a criminal conviction, and it's not. It's just proof that you went and got your fingerprints taken.
That's KSL legal analyst Greg Skordas. We've obtained the booking sheet DHS referred to and confirmed Solis was accused of sexual abuse of a child in juvenile court when he was under 18. His former girlfriend he says he was having a consensual sexual relationship with was also underage. The case was resolved as a civil matter. We've confirmed through a records check Solis has no criminal history. As we first reported yesterday, Solis' attorney says he plans to sue DHS for libel. I've since reached back out to DHS to see if they'd be willing to do an interview, but I've not received a response yet. Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
And I did the same thing. I reached out to DHS in response to their letter. They did not respond to me either. And this case was a little bit nuanced, and we talked about it last week, but part of DHS's concern was, hey, we hooked him up because he's a criminal. They used the words, he's been convicted of crime. Well, they didn't use those exact words, and they purported to show a booking sheet to prove that he had a criminal record, where, as they just quoted me in that soundbite, but the booking sheet just simply means that you went and got booked, which is having your fingerprints taken and photograph, or at some jail. It doesn't mean that you've been convicted.
Right. So
of a crime.
we did have a conversation about that, and basically talked about the both, I think, unprofessional comments coming from DHS, but also this. When we talked with Adam Craig, his attorney, who's on the phone with us right now, he reminded us that when he was supposedly being picked up for overstaying a visa, they literally said he has no criminal history.
Right.
Thanks for joining us, Adam, by the way.
No problem. Happy to be here.
So, Adam, get us up to speed. Now, you've had, because I thought he was taken out of state. Not that makes a difference. But so what happens now that you've got bond set?
So bond amount was set. Now, because the bond amount wasn't uploaded to the immigration court system or the system used by all parties, which would include DHS through the ICE supervision, till about 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon, banks don't let wire transfers take place, or they don't register till the day after. So this morning, the wire transfer should have taken place, meaning the funds should have been placed in the account maintained by the Department of Homeland Security. And so the release process will now begin, and hopefully they process him relatively quickly. We all know that can take some time, but should be out either this afternoon or at the latest tomorrow morning.
So, Adam, let me ask you this. Is he planning on, will this mean he'll just come back to Utah?
Correct. Yep.
So
he absolutely will.
Tell our listeners, Adam, how this went about, the bond hearing. And, I mean, you and I know because we practice, but a person's in custody. Right. They have a right to some level of bond, at least with certain type of crime. Did the prosecution argue against bond, or was this a stipulated amount, or was it something the judge just pulled out after hearing the arguments from each of you?
So kind of a little bit of all of the above. It was really interesting because right before we went on, and we did it over WebEx, and it was kind of funny because he's appearing from San Luis Detention Center. The judge is appearing from her courtroom in Phoenix, and I'm appearing from my office in Salt Lake. So we have 3 WebEx cameras on and doing it all, over a screen. The judge starts out and asks the government its position, and the government says, well, Judge, we are asking that you not grant bond because there's a criminal charge, and he was alleged to have sexually abused a child. And we had already looked and had seen that was never filed. The booking sheet never made it into any records filed by anyone. And so the judge goes, okay, well, let's talk about this. And I said, well, Judge, I'm confused. Are we talking about something that's in the record? Because it's not in the record. And she goes, no, that's what I'm talking about. I can't just take the word of an attorney to begin and argue about whether or not this individual is a danger to the community, because everything that I see here, including submissions by the arresting agency, which is ICE, is that there's no criminal history. And I said, that's exactly right, Judge. And I'm kind of disappointed it was even raised in the first place because there's no filings. There's nothing to indicate anything other than 100 letters of support, case law on our side, everything that says that this young man is entitled to a bond. And the judge said, you're right. I'm granting bond. I cannot find in any way, shape, or form that he is a danger to the community or a flight risk.
So you indicated, Adam, that you received something like 100 letters of support of this young man?
Yes, over 100. It was incredible. Yeah, never seen anything like it.
So where does it go from here? He'll post the bond, or maybe he's already posted the bond. He'll come back to Utah. What does it look like for him in terms of the immigration court system from here going forward?
So we will be transferring venue. We'll file a motion to change venue from Arizona to Salt Lake City. Then, more likely than not, we'll file there's a new, a modified regulation that allows us to put a motion to terminate immigration proceedings in front of the immigration judge, because if you're, sorry to use the Latin term, prima facie eligible, meaning on its face, if you're prima facie eligible to adjust your status in front of USCIS, United States Citizenship and Immigration Services, the judge has discretion to terminate the case. Well, I can't see any more statutorily eligible person than Jair, which I am so excited to walk arm in arm back into USCIS with him and sit down for our green card interview at the very place that they engaged in this horrendous waste of time and horrendous waste of monetary resources. It's going to be fantastic.
Can I ask you, Adam, how long might this process take? Are we looking at months down the road, maybe?
Yeah, unfortunately, it may take that long. But look, we have over 50,000 cases sitting here in Utah with 2 judges. So anytime a judge can burden or unburden themselves and their docket, we make it easier for them. So that could be done in the next couple of weeks. We could then get USCIS to reopen the 485, which was his adjustment of status application, and then perhaps get an interview in the next, 2 to 3 to 4 months.
I have one final follow-up. Is that something where they may be, like ICE might be there to rearrest him like they've been doing in some other cases we've heard about nationally?
No. No. I mean, in order to do that, they would have had to have come up with something that comes out of the blue that nobody on this earth would have known about. And candidly, I mean, we've literally paid 2 background companies to scour the whole entire everything that they could find, and there's nothing out there. So No.
And that seems to be corroborated by their own paperwork, which we talked about last week, Adam, where
Right.
they indicated no criminal history. And I mean,
Right.
we've all scoured it pretty well.
At this point.
This man has no criminal history.
All right. Thank you for joining us. That was Adam Craig, and he's an immigration attorney. We've been talking about Jair Solis. When we come back, a Pew Research poll just released is showing that nearly half of Americans disagree with the Trump administration about their deportation efforts, saying they're doing too much. I'd love to know what you think. We'll talk about that when we come back.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
10 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top story this hour. Expect to see volunteers around Salt Lake County gathering signatures in an effort to get a recent property tax increase on the ballot. Salt Lake County friends and neighbors filed a petition to open the referendum process yesterday, and now they have 39 days to gather 56,000 signatures. Gaud Maragani tells KSL he's volunteering to help.
They have a $2 billion budget, and they're trying to increase taxes by $36.5 million. They could have cut $36.5 million more out of that budget without any impact on normal everyday citizens.
The county says funding county operations like Meals on Wheels, flood control, the jail, and senior services would be directly impacted if there is not an increase. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. A lawsuit seeking to stop construction of the new White House ballroom will go through its first key test today, a hearing in a federal courtroom.
The National Trust for Historic Preservation argues that no president should be able to tear down parts of the White House or build additions without expert review, public comment, and approval from Congress. In its filings, the administration insists the president has the legal authority to construct the ballroom, and with the plan still not final, the White House says it will seek the input of planners before above-ground construction starts in April. The court papers also have the Secret Service warning of potential harm to national security if the project is halted.
ABC News national correspondent Stephen Portnoy reporting. Your money at this moment, the Dow's down 250 points to 48,165. Coming up, we've got warmer temperatures tomorrow than today, but tomorrow also brings some moisture. We'll check KSL weather next. KSL News Time, 10:01.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
The holiday season is here, and it is in full force, and it's time for you and your entire family to get into NPS, where everything, every day, is 20 to 70% off. But the great thing is, shopping is truly an adventure at NPS because they'll have additional savings on top of the 20 to 70% off. It's a chance for you to really stretch those Christmas dollars at any of the 4 NPS stores. And at this time of year, it's so important for you to know that they've got it all. They've got toys for the kids. They've got art supplies, the holiday decor, everything you need for your holiday meals. It's waiting for you at NPS. There are 4 stores, 2 in Salt Lake on Empire, the traditional store, and then the more industrial store across the street. There's one in Orem, and there's one in Layton. NPS, a nice place to save.
Hi, this is Doug Wright. You've heard me talk now for years about the Kinetico soft water system that we have in our home. As we head into the colder weather, if you're dealing with dry and itchy skin, do you notice your skin is cracking? It's uncomfortable, and the lotion doesn't seem to give you the relief you need? Hard water may be a hidden contributor to that pain and discomfort of dry, itchy skin. I've got Monty here from Kinetico Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake, an authorized independent Kinetico dealer and an expert
expert in overcoming challenges with hard water here in Utah.
Yeah, thanks, Doug. When you shower in hard water, the minerals don't rinse away completely, forming a film in your skin, leaving you feeling tight, dry, and constantly itching.
So the hard water minerals are essentially leaving a sticky residue on my body and even in my hair?
Exactly. Kinetico removes the minerals before they touch your skin, leaving you feeling silky, smooth, and comfortable.
Do what I did and stop buying expensive lotions and start treating the source of the problem. Find out how soft your water could be at softwaterutah.com.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-$300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code POWER to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code POWER for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code POWER for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. Here's another check-in with Jason Jones.
And Andy, we have reports of an accident southbound I-15 at 146th South in the Draper area, but I can't find it on any of the cameras. And if it's like any of the other accidents that we had earlier, it's probably already been cleared since the report that we had was 20 minutes old at this point. So that's kind of how it's been all morning long. We've had these minor accidents. They've been cleared really quick and have not caused any backups. And right now, we're not seeing any backups or slowing pretty much anywhere, at least on I-15, any of the other major highways and side streets. They're all looking good. The only leftover delays that we're seeing at all are on Pioneer Crossing at Mill Pond Road as you head eastbound over to I-15. The rescue mission of Salt Lake restores lives of homeless and hurting people by addressing the cause of homelessness and helping people return to work. Help Rescue Mission restore lives. Donate at rescuesaltlake.org. I'm Jason Jones in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather today will be partly cloudy, highs in the lower 50s. Probably, actually, we might even get to 50. The rain that we're expecting, though, could start late tonight. Right now, it's 36 degrees and hazy in Salt Lake City. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com, and we're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Well, public opinion regarding the Trump administration's deportation efforts are starting to change a little bit. As recently as March of this year, 44% of Americans felt that the administration was doing too much. However, a recent Pew survey has come out, and it shows now that 53% of Americans think that the administration is doing too much in their deportation efforts.
Yeah, that's right. And, you know, this study, and a study is just a snapshot in time, right? They're randomized controlled studies, I get that, but this is a snapshot, and there's pretty significant movement to go from 44% in March to 53% now. They also, a large majority do believe that at least some of the immigrants should be deported. And we've talked about that. We've talked about people who are criminals. And I think we just heard from Adam Craik that there's no criminal history at all in Jair Solis, who was taken out of the state of Utah to be held in an immigration facility. And I think sometimes people are equating being in the country without documentation with criminal behavior, and it's not actually.
Right. And what we're talking about is a poll that was done by the Pew Research Center of survey of U.S. adults conducted October 6th through 16th. So it's fairly recent of this year. Those numbers may have changed even more since then, which show that public sentiment toward the administration's deportation efforts is starting to shift a little bit away from what's happened or what the administration is doing. And Holly, this is why the election went the way it was in 2024. More than anything else.
It was a key campaign platform. And, You know, what's interesting is you start to look at the way it breaks down. I think, of course, you can assume that there's a partisan divide, which there is. 86% of Democrats and people who lean Democratic say the administration is doing too much. And 20% of Republicans and people who lean Republican say that the administration is doing too much. That's actually up from 7 percentage points in March. But if you start to look at broken down by ethnicity, Hispanic Republicans are far more likely than white Republicans to say the Trump administration is doing too much. And that was one of the, I think, surprised groups in the 2024 election cycle, that Hispanic voters, a lot of them actually did vote for President Trump. But now 47% of Hispanic Republicans say the administration is doing too much. That's up from 28% in March. It's nearly 20 percentage points higher.
You know, it was a mandate for the president and his people, and he took it very seriously, obviously. But I think that the pushback, because we've seen too many Kilmar Abregos, we've seen too many Jair Salises, we've seen too many of that woman, there's this college student from the University of Utah who was stopped in Colorado. You just keep continuing to see these cases where you're going, wait a minute, we're not doing this right. I mean, it's one thing to say a person's here illegally, they've committed a crime, they need to be deported. That's always been the law, and it admittedly it hasn't been followed as strictly as maybe it could have been. It's certainly being followed now, but we're also catching in this web of trying to get individuals out of the country. We're also getting people like Jair Salise who don't even have a criminal history. I mean, there's no basis
who was doing everything according to the book, right? Showing up for his final green card interview, and that's where he got picked up. So, look, this is it's an interesting study that was just released. Even though they did it in October, the information was just posted on their website. But of course, you will not be surprised that Latino Americans are worried. They're more worried that they know somebody personally that's going to be deported. They worry that they're being targeted. 52% say they're worried that someone close to them could be deported. And about 6 in 10, 59%, say ICE has conducted arrests or raids in their area in recent months, higher than shares of any other ethnic or racial group.
And I think that the department, the administration set the bar a little bit too high when they established this, what was it, 3 million people in a year or something, almost like some quota.
3,000 a day, I think.
Yeah, 3,000 a day. I mean, it was something that could probably not have been reached. Ironically, because we've closed the borders in large respects, so we're not getting the number of individuals coming across in the first place to be deported. The administration has done a pretty good job with that, and now they're saying, but we still need to get these 3,000 people a day. Well, there's not 3,000 to get, so we're going into people that we shouldn't be getting because they're here legally.
Yeah, that's right. And you know, again, it's frustrating sometimes that there's this misconception, right, that it's a criminal act to come into this country without documentation or to overstay a visa. It's a civil infraction, like speeding on the highway is a civil infraction.
And we've heard authorities say, well, being in the country alone is the crime. We don't need to have an underlying crime, and that's not necessarily the case.
It's not legally the case.
Right. For Jair Salise, it's not at all. I mean, he may have overstayed his visa, he may have missed a deadline, but that doesn't mean that he's committed a crime. He's certainly not going to get prosecuted for it. There's no crime in the books defining that. It's like you said, civil in nature. Get your act together. Let's get you into the court. Let's figure out what you need to do to get your situation set up so that you can obtain citizenship or whatever he's trying to do. I mean, he's a husband and father of several kids. You know, he's really working hard to make himself a good citizen. But he did have a slip up when he was a juvenile, and our law has always been in America that we don't let those kind of things affect you for the rest of your life.
Well, again, as we heard, he does not have a criminal history. So, again, looking at this Pew Research study, the percentage of adults who say that immigrants living in the U.S. illegally should be deported, 51% say some of them should be deported. And I think that's where we start talking about the murderers and the rapists, right, and the drug dealers that are trafficking both humans and drugs. What's interesting to me is that 17% say none of the immigrants should be deported, and 31% say all of the immigrants living in the U.S. illegally should be deported.
Yeah, and we've had laws in place that define who should be deported. And those laws have been followed not as strictly as they could have been, and that's caused some frustration with the American public. But as you start deporting your next door neighbor or the woman that helps you, clean your house, or the men who are doing your yard work or your roofing work, and just your friends at the restaurant, and you're thinking, wait a minute, I didn't expect that person to be deported. Right. That wasn't my plan. And so people are saying it's hitting closer to home than we expected.
Yeah, I think that's right too. And we know, again, polling is a snapshot in time, and so this is a snapshot in time. It was taken during the shutdown. I don't know if there were more people available, whatever, but what we're seeing is a trend, right? It's a trend where people are growing more and more concerned about what this administration is doing.
Yeah. Well, I spoke earlier about the tragic murder of Rob Reiner and his wife, and President Trump's comments about that. Nick Reiner, the couple's son, is due in court today for his first appearance regarding his parents' death. We'll get you up to speed on what's happened on that case, the investigation, and the administration's response to what happened.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/radio for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/radio for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/radio. See representative for warranty details.
If you're talking, they will hear you.
Why are we getting killed like this?
Kyle's not here. Got caught drinking beer in the park a couple of nights ago.
Really?
Yeah. 0 tolerance. He's out for the season.
Harsh.
Hey, he knew not to drink. We've made that clear to all of our kids, right?
No, not really.
Bill, if we don't tell them what we expect and why they shouldn't drink, how are they going to know?
Talk. They hear you. For more information, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
CVS Health supports people in the moments that matter, from picking up a prescription to connecting care. With nearly 5 million daily interactions and serving 185 million consumers and 1.5 million healthcare professionals, CVS Health holds a trusted place in healthcare. By simplifying care and improving health, we're helping people get the care they need. Learn more at cvshealth.com/investor day.
This is the story of the one. As the purchasing manager at a manufacturing plant, she knows the only thing more important than having the right safety gear is having it there when you need it. That's why she partners with Grainger for auto reordering, so her team members can count on her to have cut-resistant gloves on hand, and each shift can run safely and efficiently. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You probably know if you need new windows. You hear the wind whistling. There's condensation between the panes. Maybe your heating bill's too high, but you don't want to pull the trigger because it costs a lot of money. I understand. And they understand at Advanced Window Products. After all, they've been creating custom state-of-the-art windows right here in Salt Lake for 39 years. They know what's up. That's why they offer 60-month 0% financing or buy now, pay later. You get the windows this winter for 30 to 40% less because you're buying straight from the factory. They'll build, they'll install your windows, and you don't have to pay for a year or more. At Advanced, they're committed to making your new windows affordable. And if you call now, they'll knock another $2,500 off your quote. State-of-the-art, energy-saving windows built here for Utah's changing climate. And right now, $2,500 off. Call for a quote, 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or go to advancedwindows.com.
Question: what will you find on all over-the-counter or OTC medicine packages to help you choose the right drug and use it safely? The answer: the Drug Facts label. This label lists the medicine's active ingredients and purpose, how much to take, and warnings you should know before using it. Remember, even OTC medicines you buy without a prescription can cause side effects you don't want. So follow the information listed on the Drug Facts label. For more information, visit fda.gov/Drug Facts label. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
This is the story of the one. As the purchasing manager at a manufacturing plant, she knows the only thing more important than having the right safety gear is having it there when you need it. That's why she partners with Grainger for auto reordering, so her team members can count on her to have cut-resistant gloves on hand, and each shift can run safely and efficiently. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Makita knows that pros never settle, and neither do we. With Makita, you get tools that perform at the highest level, on every job, without compromise. Makita is for the most detailed pros, expertly engineered to deliver precision, job after job. When your work calls for the best, call on Makita. Makita, built to be the best. Available at the Home Depot.
My name is Tom.
My name is Cindy.
We give to and volunteer with United Way at our community free health clinic.
We know our time and money are going to the right places.
We don't just wear the shirt.
We live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer. Live United. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
Getting help with plumbing repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
The new Inside Sources.
Yesterday, we were following the investigation and arrest involving the killing of director Rob Reiner and his wife, Michelle Singer. Rob Reiner is a notable director, Princess Bride, a number of, what is it, the one with A Few Good Men, or
Stand By Me,
Officer and a Gentleman, the one where Jack Nicholson goes off. Anyway, he was killed in his home. He was found by his daughter, and we were talking about this yesterday. His son Nick was a suspect in the case. Here's ABC's Trevor Alt following the story from Los Angeles.
At the Reiners' home on Monday, Trevor Tafahima tells me he used to work security for the family. He says Nick was living on the property.
You could tell he had some problems with drug addiction. If Nick is the suspect, I would never have thought that he would have done this to his parents.
Nick Reiner had been open about battling drug addiction since he was a teenager. In 2016, he worked with his dad on the movie Being Charlie, which was based largely on Nick's struggles with drug addiction.
Well, he's now in custody. He's being held without bail in Los Angeles, and he may very well be having a court hearing to answer those charges. We'll find out exactly what the charges are if they do have that hearing. It may be sometime this morning.
Well, that's what we're hearing, right, is that he is going to be formally charged today with the murder of his parents. So just an overall tragedy, I think. Any murder is a tragedy. To be murdered by your own child is, I don't know, that just seems so much, right?
When they were found by another child.
Oh, really awful, actually. And this is what's so sad about it is we had there's some initial tweets coming from people across the political spectrum talking about how sad it was. There was also one by a well-known person on the right who said, look, nobody's going to celebrate this. Everybody is basically appropriately sad. I'm paraphrasing. But then, unfortunately, President Donald Trump took to Truth Social, and he basically blamed Rob Reiner for causing his own death. This is the quote. Rob Reiner, a tortured and struggling but once very talented movie director and comedy star, has passed away together with his wife Michelle, reportedly due to the anger he caused others through his massive, unyielding, incurable affliction with a mind-crippling disease known as Trump derangement syndrome. So there's no indication at all that there was politics involved in any of the events that led up to Nick allegedly killing his parents.
Yeah, and it's hard to imagine a son killing his parents because of their political affiliation. I
Right.
mean, there was something else going on. This young man, we're learning more and more about him. He had a drug addiction. He was homeless. His father tried to keep him close. His parents tried to make him part of the family business. And we see a lot of pictures of him at gatherings, but he must have had some mental illness, some drug addiction, something going on. We don't know. He's presumed innocent.
We know, at least from what I was seeing online yesterday, we know that his family was quite concerned about him, concerned enough that they asked their friends if he could come with them, the parents, to a Christmas party because they wanted to keep an eye on him. They were really, really worried about him. And it looks like maybe with good reason.
So it comes just months after the Charlie Kirk shooting where Jimmy Kimmel made remarks, made light of that, and was actually taken off the air. Now our president is making even more troubling remarks. Of course, he can't be taken off the air or anything else. But I think there are reasons why a lot of Republicans and Democrats are saying, wait a minute, those are just not appropriate remarks for that kind of situation.
Yeah, and I think, again, remember, the Trump administration asked people to report anybody who, quote, celebrated or mocked Kirk's killing. People did lose their jobs. They even revoked visas for people that they felt like were not appropriately grieving the Charlie Kirk shooting. But we do have people on the right. In fact, there's several articles today about this being maybe a line too far for Republicans. So Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's a Republican, a longtime Trump ally, but recently turned critic, but she said this: Rob Reiner and his wife were tragically killed at the hands of their own son, who reportedly had a drug addiction and other issues, and their remaining children are left in serious mourning and heartbreak. This is a family tragedy, not about politics or political enemies. Trump's own former lawyer, Jenna Ellis, wrote, "A man and his wife were murdered last night. This is not the appropriate response. The right uniformly condemned political and celebratory responses to Charlie Kirk's death. This is a horrible example from Trump and surprising considering the 2 attempts on his own life. It should be condemned by anyone with any decency."
Yeah, I mean, people within his own party, within his own administration have problems with this. And I'll just say this: as soon as we heard about the Rob Reiner killing, you wonder what the president's reaction is going to be, because it almost always is something about, how does this affect me? What does this have to do with me? And in this case, I don't think that the homicide had anything to do with the administration.
No, I don't think so either.
For him to say this is the result of the mind-crippling disease known as Trump derangement syndrome.
There's no indication of that, right? At this point, there's no indication of that. And I think we'll learn more when the charges are filed. But you're the attorney, and I don't know California law at all.
It's very similar.
They don't have. Did they have the death penalty in California?
I don't believe so. They certainly haven't carried it out. If they do, I can't think of any executions they've had in California.
So at least, I mean, I suspect that he's facing murder charges.
Oh, but you're right.
Do you have a double aggravated murder or anything like that?
Yeah, double homicide would in most states be a capital offense. I don't think California does. It's probably a life without type of crime. A double homicide, if he did it. Police seem fairly comfortable that he is the right person. They hooked him up fairly quickly.
Yeah.
And he's been in custody. He's on a no bail hold, and they've even purportedly filed charges because there's some information that he's going to appear in court today.
So we're talking about Republicans who are saying this is not appropriate. Thomas Massie is one of them also. He's the Kentucky GOP representative. He said, regardless of how you felt about Rob Reiner, this is inappropriate and disrespectful. This is an inappropriate and disrespectful discourse about a man who was just brutally murdered. And then he says, I guess my elected GOP colleagues, the VP and White House staff, will just ignore it. I challenge anyone to defend it. And actually they did. The White House then kind of doubled down on it. He was asked, the president was asked later in the day, do you stand by those comments? And he said, yeah, I wasn't a fan at all. He was a deranged person.
Yeah. I mean, you got to give it up. You know, he's dead. His family's grieving. At some point, maybe just better left not even talking about it. You know, it's a tragedy on so many levels. And Rob Reiner, if you recall, I knew him early on in his career when he was in the sitcom All in the Family.
Yeah.
And he played the son-in-law. They called him, his dad called him Meathead. But he was seen as a liberal. I mean, that was his role as a liberal. He then became sort of a cause celeb for liberal causes. He then directed some of his own movies and did an outstanding job with that. But I didn't ever think or see him as a political figure.
He was actually. He was very involved in politics and in campaigning, and he had spoken out against President Trump in the past. Although I will point out, when Charlie Kirk was murdered, Rob Reiner was one of the ones saying this is an absolute tragedy. My heart goes out to his family, right? He was one of the ones saying this is just terrible for our country. Things like this shouldn't happen. So he was very politically active, but he also did movies. Like, the only one I really recognize, to be honest, is The Princess Bride, and we really love that movie in our family. So
When Harry Met Sally.
I mean, I know of the movie, but I've never seen it. I haven't seen it.
Those are some pretty big
Stand
movies.
By Me, haven't seen it. I know.
Yeah, I mean,
You Can't Handle the Truth. Also, haven't seen it.
Right, yes, you need to watch that one someday. And his wife was a renowned photographer. Also helped him with his business and in terms of his directing and producing of some movies. He was at the top of his game, and his father was.
I think Carl
Reiner.
Yeah,
who was a
also
comedian.
well known.
Yeah. Anyway, boy, that one that's a real tragedy,
Ugh.
and something you don't want to make light of in any way.
No, not in any way. All right, look, I don't know if this is maybe a tragedy, but on a very different level. Ballet West is warning patrons about a growing number of fake tickets for their performance of The Nutcracker, leading people to say, is my ticket real? They're going to join us next to explain what's going on and what to watch out for. I would hate to show up for a performance and find out my tickets were fake.
Oh, boy.
10:30 KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top story this hour: a family is demanding more answers after the death of their loved one in Sugar House. Steve Callis was found dead next to his RV. His sister, Tricia Davis, says he may have been homeless, but he was well loved in the community.
He may not have been rich, he may not have been famous, but he was a human being, and he deserves justice.
The Callis family believes someone knows what's happened, but isn't coming forward. Police are waiting for the autopsy results before announcing the official cause of death. A man has been arrested after police say he found a scared teenage girl under a blanket in the backseat of his car. Court documents say Derek James Jones was pulled over after making evasive maneuvers and trying to avoid a cop. The Taylorsville officer found the 13-year-old, who said she was just taken from her home. Police think the two may have met online, but the investigation is ongoing. Our top national story this hour from ABC News: the search for the suspect that left 2 dead and 9 injured at Brown University is ongoing. One victim, 18-year-old Muhammad Aziz Umerzakov, was remembered by friend Vanessa Finder. Authorities are asking for the public's help releasing the new video and images of the possible gunman. Your money at this moment: Dow down 257 points to 48,149. Coming up, we got a storm coming in tomorrow, but today just going to be chilly and hazy. KSL weather's next. KSL News Time 10:31.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Hi, this is Derek Overstreet, president of the New Millennium Group and co-host of Stop Working, Start Living with KSL News Radio. Can you imagine what your life would be like if you could retire 3 to 5 years earlier than you thought possible? The things you could do, the loved ones you could spend time with, the memories that you could create. That's what our team at the New Millennium Group does. We'll walk you through the entire process every step of the way. If you'd like to get a copy of the 5-step proprietary plan that will help you retire 3 to 5 years sooner than you thought possible, give us a shout right now. 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com. Listen, most of our listeners right now have a tax problem, not a money problem. There's not enough money in Social Security, Medicare as it is. Let us show you how you can significantly reduce your taxes. That's 888-999-6370. 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com.
So Pure Talk just had their best year ever and asked me if I'd like to thank their customers on their behalf for being so awesome. I said sure. It's important to say thanks, especially this time of year, which is why, as one of their many satisfied customers, I should probably thank Pure Talk first for keeping their customer service in this country and for providing hundreds of American jobs. I appreciate that. I also appreciate their Roundup program, which makes it easy to support America's Warrior Partnership and join the fight against veteran suicide. And I love that Pure Talk donated 1,000 hand-sewn Made in America flags to veterans around Independence Day. And of course, I really appreciate their generous support of my own foundation, MicroWorks, and their commitment to help us train the next generation of skilled workers. Having said all that, it's now my pleasure, on behalf of everyone at Pure Talk, to thank you sincerely for choosing to do business with an American wireless company that actually stands for something. And one more thing. Merry Christmas.
Traffic and weather together is brought to you by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. Here's Jason Jones.
Accident and delay free. That's how we're running at this point. If you're north or southbound on I-15 from Payson all the way up to Ogden, not going to find any resistance, no problems at all. Major highways are looking very good as well. Up into the canyons, we have no problems. And your major feeders over to I-15, yes, including Pioneer Crossing, have all cleared out. There are the construction barrels out on Bangerter Highway eastbound side headed over towards I-15, but as of right now, they're not really causing any delay at all. Common Spirit, hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advanced healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Healthcare with human kindness is here. Hello, human kindness. I'm Jason Jones in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather forecast for today. We're looking at a high of 49 degrees while it's hazy most of the day. The rain we're expecting could start late tonight, but more likely sometime tomorrow. 60% chance and a high of 55 on Wednesday. 49 the high on Thursday, 56 on Friday. Right now, 36 degrees in Salt Lake City. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Well, Holly, I want to paint a picture for you because every Christmas, one of the things I enjoy more than anything, and one of the things I look forward to more than just about anything, is going to a Ballet West annual performance at the Nutcracker. I think that in the last 30 or 40 years, I may have missed like 2 or 3 years.
Wow.
I mean, I just go every year.
That is committed.
I used to take my kids every year. This year, I'm going with my wife.
Yeah. Yeah, and look, this is one of the things we've gone several times. We certainly it's at least in the rotation for things that we do at Christmas time, and for our family, that would mean dressing up, going to dinner, finding a place to park. Right, it's the cost of the tickets, showing up, and then finding out that my tickets were fake would really just be devastating.
Oh, I can't even imagine. And you think about. Because you see people when you go into the Capitol Theater, I mean, they've made it an event. They've made it a night.
Oh,
they've
yeah.
got the kids dressed up. They've been out to dinner. They've gone and done something, and they've got the whole group together, all dressed up. I can't even imagine what it would be like if you showed up at the ticket window and somebody said, "Oh, those tickets are a scam. They're not real."
You just lost your money.
Right, and it's sold out, so it's not like the Capitol Theater can say, "Oh, but we'll get you another seat somewhere else."
Oh, we have Natalie Thorpe on the line. She's the Ballet West Director of Patron Services. Natalie, thanks for joining us this morning.
Oh, you're very welcome.
What can you tell us about this scam?
It's so prevalent these days. I feel like it's worse this year than it has been in previous years. We're not exactly sure why, especially since we've been working with ArtTix in Salt Lake County for additional security measures, but people just seem to be getting duped left and right.
So what is it that the scammers are doing? They're creating false tickets, or what is it actually that's happening?
Usually what happens is the scammer will get your information when you think you are purchasing a ticket through their website. And then they will take your information, like your first name and last name, create a new account on a legitimate website like balletwest.org or arttix.org. And so the new account will have your name on it, and your tickets will be in will call sometimes they're not. and then they will purchase the tickets with their own money, but your money, your hard-earned cash, is going to the scammer. It never comes to us.
Wow.
So are they actually tickets then, but they're paying more for it? Is this like a scalper thing, or they're fake tickets?
Both are happening. So probably in the most cases, I'd probably say 70% of the time, people are buying actual tickets that do exist, but at significant markups. Like someone will buy a $39 ticket. The reseller will buy a $39 ticket and resell it for hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars.
Oh my gosh!
In some respects, you're a victim of your own success, because the Nutcracker and Ballet West are world renowned, and tickets are at a premium. I mean, we try to get them as early as we can every year. So I can imagine families feeling, I really want to take the kids. I can't find them online. Where can I get them? And these scalpers are out there taking advantage of families. It's got to be just frustrating for you as the director of patron services.
Absolutely. It breaks my heart every time. And we do everything that we can to try and help them with the ticket issue. Like this last weekend, I helped several people who purchased tickets that were for seats that don't even exist in the theater. And in those kinds of instances, I give them information about steps they can take with the government in order to make the ticket reseller pay a fee for each infraction, which, hurts the ticket reseller, but it doesn't help the patron, really. They're kind of out their money no matter what. And we try to get them new seats as best we can.
What are some red flags for people who are trying to go online and buy tickets? What are some red flags?
A big red flag is that you don't get to choose your own actual seat number. A lot of times on a ticket reseller site, it'll give you a row or a section, but never a seat number. That's the biggest red flag.
What are ticket prices like right now? I mean, what are people expected to pay online? I'm sure there's quite a range.
Yeah, for our tickets, the most expensive tickets are going to be around $240, but those are seats that are VIP that also include exclusive merchandise. So there's a lot of perks that come with them, but on the lower end, and I mean, we're almost out of these seats, but we have seats that start at $39.
Oh, wow.
And I mean, just before this interview, we were looking at ticket reseller websites, and we found tickets for our Christmas Eve performance that are going for $1,000.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so if people want to purchase legitimate tickets, how can they be reassured that they're doing it the right way? Should they go to your actual physical location and do it in person? What should they do?
I mean, that's always a great way to do it. It's good to have a nice friendly face selling you a legitimate ticket. There's also going to balletwest.org, not balletwest.com, not nutcracker.com, none of those. Just go to balletwest.org or ARTTix, so ARTTIX. They're our ticketing partners. They're the only other people that can sell tickets to our legitimate performances.
Okay, and people who do want to go or who are listening to us right now, Natalie, saying, I hadn't thought about it, but I need to get my Nutcracker tickets. Are there still some available for shows coming up over the next couple of weeks?
We do, yeah, especially in terms of availability. Our matinee performances next week, especially since, kids aren't in school, or at least they shouldn't be in school next week. We have a lot of availability for those, or for the performances that are after Christmas, so on the 26th and 27th.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the Nutcracker? I think I've seen billboards saying you're like the first or the oldest. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so we're the longest running Nutcracker production in the United States. So this will be our 81st year.
Wow.
And it was started back with our founder, Willem Christensen, when he co-founded San Francisco Ballet. And so it's his production that he then took with him when he founded Ballet West in 1963.
How did we get such a renowned ballet service? I mean, how did Ballet West become? Because I've heard people say that they've actually shipped our Nutcracker out and had the performers go to New York or go to someplace like that, and it was just so well received. I mean, how did Ballet West get so renowned?
Oh gosh, I think a lot of hard work. A lot of really dedicated artisans. I mean, our costume department does such incredible work on the costumes. Our sets and backdrops are phenomenal and second to none. And I think the leadership that we've had over the years, especially with Adam Skloot over his tenure, has really helped Nutcracker grow to such a phenomenon worldwide.
So can you remind us, I know you're already underway, right? How long does this go? Does it go into January or just till the end of the year?
Just until the 27th. That's our final show, and it's a matinee at 2 p.m.
Wonderful. That was Natalie Thorpe, Ballet West Director of Patron Services. Holly, you've got to go to.
I
know it's easy.
I have seen. No, it's good. I have not seen Ballet West production of the Nutcracker. I've seen multiple versions of the Nutcracker multiple times. But
and they're all wonderful.
They are.
They really are.
But Ballet West is amazing. I did see. I think I mentioned this to you. I did see a production of Aladdin there, and they had camels. Right? It's not like the animal. They had dancers that were camels, and it was just so well done. It was just, we just smiled the whole time we watched it. It was so fun.
Another thing about the Nutcracker is the music.
Yeah.
I mean,
for sure.
I mean, every piece, every time something comes on, whether it's the Sugar Plum Fairies or whatever, I mean, you
Look,
know that.
I was a little girl who took ballet lessons, right? So, it was always a dream to dance in the Nutcracker. I never did. I never got that that good, and I never did it long enough. But that was one of the things, right? That's like the ideal is, can I dance in the Nutcracker?
So the good news is, go to the Nutcracker. There are still seats available. Go enjoy it. It's one of the most wonderful things we do here in Salt Lake.
Just make sure your tickets
just
are
make
legit.
Sure you don't get and buy them from balletwest.org or ARTTix, ARTTIX.org. Don't get scammed and go in and buy something and then show up and find out that, oh man, you're at the wrong place. Well, I think this is actually a good time to bring in the KSL investigative team. We'll ask KSL's Matt Gephardt to lay out his red flags to watch for when buying any kind of ticket online and just how common that problem actually is. Stay with us to learn how to avoid being scammed.
If you're ready to buy a home or sell a home and you're worried about the current real estate market because of what you've heard from some of your friends or family, well, we're here to tell you that you really shouldn't be worried, because now is a great time to buy and sell with our friends at the Stern Team, powered by Almada Real Estate.
And here's why. Buyers have more options due to increased inventory, which gives them the power to negotiate for repairs, interest rate buy-downs, and closing cost assistance. While at the same time, sellers are still getting top dollar for their homes, with home values that are higher today than ever before. So whether you're looking to buy or sell, the current real estate market presents a win-win opportunity for both buyers and sellers.
But you still do want to make sure that you're working with a team of real estate experts you can trust that can get you some great results. And that's our friends at the Stern Team, powered by Almada Real Estate.
They have helped thousands of Salt Lake City homeowners, and they're ready to help you. To get started, just go to thesternteam.com. That's thesternteam.com, or Google The Stern Team.
KSL offers the best daily newsletter in the state. It's the 3 things you need to know. Every weekday, we deliver quality and relevant content to your inbox. No ads, no spam, just the 3 things you need to know to be informed about the world around you. Subscribe today. Visit KSLNewsRadio.com or text the word inbox to 57500. That's inbox to 57500.
Join KSL Radio's Amanda Dixon this Friday from 3 to 5 at the Salt Lake NPS store at 1600 Empire Road, npsstore.com.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-$300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code POWER to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code POWER for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code POWER for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
So the nights are chilly. We're almost to the first official day of winter next week. Many kids here in Utah don't have the warm coats and shoes they need to get through these cold months.
KSL's Quarters for Christmas has been helping local children for years, turning your donations into warm coats and shoes for kids right here in our community.
Every dollar you give goes directly towards providing those coats and shoes for the kids who need them most. And, you know, it's really easy to make a difference. You just have to go online, go to kslquarters.com, give what you can, and then know that you're helping keep a child warm this winter.
Please join us in spreading a little comfort and a lot of kindness with KSL's Quarters for Christmas.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
Do you want to walk, play pickleball, and enjoy other fun activities to stay healthy, but you can't because of bad feet? Hi, this is Mike, and the Good Feet store wants to help.
I just had difficulty walking. I tried them on in the store, and my foot felt so much better.
Do you keep buying new shoes and inserts with little or no relief?
I tried all kinds of shoes. It was the arch supports that made the difference from the Good Feet store.
Don't let bad feet, knees, or back problems get in the way of staying healthy and having fun.
Thanks to the Good Feet store, I'm bowling 3 nights a week.
Get back to doing what you love. At the Good Feet store, we'll personally fit you at high-quality arch supports to maximize your comfort. Stop in the Good Feet store or book your free fitting at goodfeet.com. We have locations in Farmington, Riverton, and Sandy.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Every 2 minutes, an American is sexually assaulted. Be the someone who gives their time. Be the someone who lends an ear. Be the someone who takes a step. This is Christina Ricci with RAIN, asking you to join the fight against sexual violence and volunteer in your community. Log on to RAIN.org, that's RAINN.org, to learn how you can be the someone.
This message brought to you by the Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network and this station.
Mr. Max, suiting for every important chapter of your life. Weddings, proms, new job, any celebration, mission callings, and more. Mr. Max there to suit your needs with 9 locations or MrMac.com.
My name is Dale Pazinski. I volunteer with United Way to help the homeless in my community learn computer skills and build a basic resume. I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, Live United. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
Inside Sources.
Well, it's the holiday season, and it's also the holiday scamming season. And today we're talking about tickets. We just spoke with Ballet West about fraudulent and overpriced tickets becoming an issue for this year's Nutcracker production. Natalie Thorpe, Ballet West Director of Patron Services, joined us just a minute ago.
Usually what happens is the scammer will get your information when you think you are purchasing a ticket through their website. And then they will take your information, like your first name and last name, create a new account on a legitimate website like balletwest.org or arttix.org. And so the new account will have your name on it, and your tickets will be in will call sometimes they're not. And then they will purchase the tickets with their own money, but your money, your hard-earned cash, is going to the scammer. It never comes to us.
And the scammers are buying tickets low, reselling them for hundreds or sometimes even thousands of dollars more, and some of them aren't even real tickets.
Probably in the most cases, I'd probably say 70% of the time, people are buying actual tickets that do exist, but at significant markups. Like someone will buy a $39 ticket. The reseller will buy a $39 ticket and resell it for hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars.
Well, our next guest, KSL investigative reporter Matt Gephardt, listened to that segment and tell our listeners what you did.
Yeah, I was sitting over in the KSL Investigates office as she was talking, and I just got on a search engine and started typing in. I typed in Ballet West Nutcracker to see what would come up, and the first 3 websites that were pushed on me were not the legitimate websites. And so I took the top one because that's what a lot of us do on search engines, right? We assume. And by the way, it had, and I printed some stuff out here, which this always makes for good radio looking at paperwork, right? But I printed some stuff out here. They got pictures of Capitol Theater on it. I mean, this is no association with the Capitol Theater whatsoever, but they got pictures of it.
But it looks legitimate.
Sure looks legitimate, yeah.
Wow.
And so I clicked on a ticket for Thursday, this coming Thursday. And if you remember what our Ballet West spokesperson just said the most expensive ticket you can possibly buy for one of these things, like the VIP seat. My goodness, you're basically sitting in the Rat King's throne.
Right.
Runs around $250 or so.
Yeah.
That's what these tickets are selling for in upper mezzanine.
Wow.
So will there be a ticket on the back end of this? Who knows? You won't know until you show up. But they do sure get in front of you quickly.
Well,
these scammers.
I feel like you have to be skeptical of everything. What are some other ticket scams people might run into?
It's anything that is in high demand. We've seen it with certain in Utah ski season, particularly. We see it with like lift tickets, right? Anything like the single-use lift tickets. I did some reporting a few years ago where it was happening at Lagoon quite a bit. When you have these things that can be printed out that have a QR code or a barcode. It's a big part of the reason that you've seen, if you've been to a Jazz game or a Mammoth game or a University of Utah sporting event recently, you've seen them kind of get away from physical tickets. In a lot of cases, they don't even have them anymore. You couldn't go to Recall and get something printed that gets you in. But otherwise, they require, in order to get through the door, these updating barcodes because the scam has become so prevalent. And as I was listening to your interview, I heard her say, I don't know what's going on right now. I do. Artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence. It used to be much more tricky for these people who barely speak the English language to come up with these bogus websites and rip you off. It's much easier now because they can say, hey, clean this up for me.
Wow.
And it does. And you can literally say to certain artificial intelligence things, build me a website, and it will.
Wow. That looks like this.
That.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow. That's
I did a story not too long ago. This isn't tickets, but I did a story not too long ago. Matt Gephardt, am not a charity. I like to think that I'm a charitable person, but I am not a charity. And I was able to set up using just a few keystrokes on a website, mattgephardt.org, which spit out all this nonsense information that wasn't true. And by the way, I didn't even prompt it to say it. I just said, hey, I'm a charity. And it spit out all this stuff about like, he gives such and such percent to such and such a thing. And it was like, it's not true at all. And it just spit it all out for me. And boom, I was able to publish. I could have published this website.
Wow.
So Matt, next week is Christmas. A lot of people are going to be coming into town. They're going to be wanting to go to our ski resorts or other activities. What advice would you give them? And I know that's a difficult question. Like, hey, I want to go to Deer Valley this weekend with the family. I'll go online and buy tickets. What kind of things should they be thinking about or looking at?
So here's what I do. And I don't know that this is the best advice, but it's what I do. And the reason I hate this as advice is because it does create monopoly type situations. And that is you just got to buy direct. And the problem with that, and we've done a lot of reporting on ticket prices, of course, also. The problem with that is you get into situations where one entity controls a huge chunk of the marketplace, because they control not only the original ticket sales, but maybe also some of the ticket resales and that sorts of thing. But I do, whenever possible, buy directly from the source. I have been turned off, and part of this is because I'm a professional boogeyman and I've done too much reporting on this. If it is third party, if it is resale, I steer away from those things altogether, if at all possible. Like I said, many of the larger things these days do not come with a physical ticket, and so you get these things that are like provable right on your phone.
Right.
If you go by, I just bought some tickets to a Utah gymnastics meet recently, and I bought them off someone, and I knew they were legitimate because they got transferred into my app, and there they were on my app, and I could see them refreshing right there and stuff. And so there are certain things like that where I will, if I am going to buy third party, if I am going to buy resale, I deal through these apps that do have these certain protections in place. But I just never deal with anything physical, no paper tickets whatsoever.
I know that it's almost Christmas, as we've said, and I'm wondering if you could talk to us just a little bit about overall Christmas scams to be aware of. We've got basically a week and 2 days left. What should we be on the lookout for?
Sure. I mean, a huge one we're seeing right now. In fact, guess the number. So delivery scams, right? We've all gotten these text messages.
Oh, right.
We've all gotten these text messages that say, hey, we're holding a package for you. And they're up, as you might imagine, because of some of the tariffs and some of the other things that are happening. Things are being held in customs, you might be told, that sort of thing. Guess what the percentage increase in text messages that Americans have received between Halloween and Black Friday on these U.S. Postal Service scams?
What?
Double.
Higher.
Triple.
Really? Higher.
Quadruple.
850% increase between Halloween and Black Friday on Americans getting these. About 1 in 3 Americans, that's like 140 million Americans have received one of these scams. So that's something to watch out for.
Wow.
We know about it, but we got to watch out for it. And it feels more legitimate this time of year because we're ordering weird things from weird places. And so we aren't used to our usual shopping trends. Likewise, avoid social media. Be wary, I should say. Be wary of social media advertisements. These things frequently don't show up, frequently show up not as advertised. You think you're getting one thing and you get something else. I saw a post this morning of Melissa Joan Hart holding up a dress that had been AI generated that she ordered online for a Christmas party, and it was garbage. These are the sorts of the normal things. And then charities. Anybody, and especially with the internet, especially when we don't see people face to face, anybody can put their hand out. And we are the most, year after year after year, the most charitable state. But give wisely, know where you're giving. Charities is a huge thing this time of year. People feel very giving, and it doesn't take anything to put your hand out. It really doesn't take anything to put your hand out online. So I would highly recommend giving wisely.
And if you are scammed, there are very few remedies. I mean, calling law enforcement is great, and they're going to get involved to the extent they can. But a lot of these scammers are overseas, and they're almost untraceable.
No, yeah, absolutely. And law enforcement really is, they've got other things to do besides go after yes, they have things to do. Yes, this is fraud. Yes, they do go after some, and in rare instances they get the money back. But yeah, as you point out, they are very difficult. This is a lot of legwork to track down for some relatively minor on the individual level problems. And so, yeah, it's very, very difficult to ever get your money back. I will say one other thing is, as you're dealing with things, credit cards as often as possible when shopping online or when even donating, credit cards as often as possible, because you do have a certain window, 60 days, to dispute bogus charges, whereas you're seeing a lot more people taking payments through Venmo, through Zelle, through PayPal. And that's essentially like you hand in $20 cash to somebody. There's really very, very little remedy if you are ripped off through one of these peer-to-peer payment apps.
One super quick question.
Yeah.
What about gift cards?
Well, what I would say about gift cards is use them. A lot of times we do run into issues where people buy gift cards and they've already been drained. So as you're in the store and you're looking at these things physically, make sure that they haven't been tampered with. Use them when you get them, because these systems do get breached from time to time, and then that money can be drained. But then more importantly, use them because I've done reporting on the billions with a B of dollars that essentially is just sitting in our glove boxes and our junk drawers at home because people get these things and then just don't use them. So if you're going to get them, the faster you use them, it's kind of like a tax return. The faster you claim it, the more likely you are to keep a scammer out. If you get a gift card, the faster you use it, the more likely you are to keep a scammer out. And also don't forget about it, because we as Americans are leaving a boatload of money on the table.
Yeah, myself included. I've been the victim of that. Thanks, Matt. That was Matt Gephardt joining us this morning with the latest scams to be aware of over the holiday season. When we come back after the break, we're going to talk about a lawsuit involving the White House ballroom. You might wonder what that's about. We'll explain.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
11 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Claire Scott, KSL's top story this hour. And it is breaking news. Rocky Mountain Power is reporting a major outage in Salt Lake County. There's about 19,000 customers without power in the Holiday, Mill Creek, and Murray area. Crews are on the scene and working to restore power. It's projected to be back on by at least 3 p.m. today. We will continue to monitor the outage. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. The Pentagon says they conducted more deadly strikes on alleged drug boats.
The Pentagon releasing new video overnight showing that it hit 3 more, killing at least 8 people in the Eastern Pacific. That brings the total number of these strikes since September to at least 25. The Trump administration saying that these are strikes on what they allege to be drug smuggling vessels. At least 95 people killed so far. But the administration has never publicly provided evidence that these boats are smuggling drugs, and they have never publicly identified any of the people killed in these strikes.
ABC's Jay O'Brien is reporting in Washington. Your money at this moment, the Dow is down 418 points. The S&P is down 52 points. And coming up, a storm moves out the haze. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time 11:01.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
This Friday from 10 to 1, the movie show comes to Sound Sleep. But first, take time to learn about a better night's rest. Sound Sleep delivers oral appliance therapy that treats sleep apnea without the use of CPAP machines. They're professionally fit, warranted, and covered by most major medical insurance. End the days of a poor night's sleep. With offices from Clearfield to St. George, Sound Sleep will help. Call Sound Sleep at 801-716-8672 today.
Hi, this is Doug Wright. You've heard me talk now for years about the Connecticut soft water system that we have in our home. As we head into the colder weather, if you're dealing with dry and itchy skin, do you notice your skin is cracking, it's uncomfortable, and the lotion doesn't seem to give you the relief you need? Hard water may be a hidden contributor to that pain and discomfort of dry, itchy skin. I've got Monty here from Connecticut Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer and an expert in overcoming challenges with hard water here in Utah.
Yeah, thanks, Doug. When you shower in hard water, the minerals don't rinse away completely, forming a film in your skin, leaving you feeling tight, dry, and constantly itching.
So the hard water minerals are essentially leaving a sticky residue on my body and even in my hair?
Exactly. Connecticut removes the minerals before they touch your skin, leaving you feeling silky, smooth, and comfortable.
Do what I did and stop buying expensive lotions and start treating the source of the problem. Find out how soft your water could be at softwaterutah.com.
Ebenezer Scrooge, you have yet a chance of escaping my fate. Ah, humbug. You still have time to get a Mountain America Rewards credit card and earn 3 times the points on every dollar spent, but only through the stroke of midnight on December 31st.
I suppose I can learn to enjoy the holidays with triple rewards.
Apply today and learn more at macu.com/triple.
Membership required based on eligibility. Loans on approved credit offer can change or be withdrawn at any time. Limited time offer. Business cards not eligible.
CVS Health supports people in the moments that matter, from picking up a prescription to connecting care. With nearly 5 million daily interactions and serving 185 million consumers and 1.5 million healthcare professionals, CVS Health holds a trusted place in healthcare. By simplifying care and improving health, we're helping people get the care they need. Learn more at cvshealth.com/investor day.
This is the story of the one. As the purchasing manager at a manufacturing plant, she knows the only thing more important than having the right safety gear is having it there when you need it. That's why she partners with Grainger for auto reordering, so her team members can count on her to have cut-resistant gloves on hand, and each shift can run safely and efficiently. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. Here's Ricky Meese.
Well, for those in West Valley, a small accident that we had eastbound 3500 south just after the I-215 ramp has just pulled away. It really didn't cause any kind of problem with drivers in the area anyway. All of your Salt Lake County freeways and I-15 between Ogden and Provo seeing a good drive, no accidents or delays. The Good Feet store, supporting you with comfort no matter what the day brings. Find the location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Partly cloudy and hazy this afternoon. Tomorrow, storm moves out the haze. We'll see showers and a bit of breeze, and then back to cloudy skies on Thursday. Right now, it is 43 and mostly cloudy. I'm Claire Scott from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Some time ago, President Trump announced that he wanted to build a $300 million ballroom on the White House grounds, and to do so had to tear down the east wing of the White House.
Right, which he did.
Which he went ahead and did. There was a lawsuit filed not long after that by the National Trust for Historic Preservation saying, time out. Now, the damage was done by the time they got their lawsuit filed, and I think a lot of people were really caught off guard with the speed that the administration's went to get that part of the White House destroyed, which they did. There was a lawsuit filed by them to stop further actions. The Trump administration is saying, well, we did it for national security reasons. He hasn't really explained what that means, but he said, well, this is a national emergency. We need to get this done.
Not everything is a national emergency,
right.
But ABC News national correspondent Stephen Portnoy is reporting on the lawsuit that's going forward.
The National Trust for Historic Preservation argues that no president should be able to tear down parts of the White House or build additions without expert review, public comment, and approval from Congress. In its filings, the administration insists the president has the legal authority to construct the ballroom, and with the plan still not final, the White House says it will seek the input of planners before above-ground construction starts in April. The court papers also have the Secret Service warning of potential harm to national security if the project is halted.
Yeah, and I can't imagine how that would.
Well, I
play.
wonder because you've got like an open
big
space
hole in the wall.
I don't know.
Maybe
Look,
that's
I'm
the
looking
problem.
at an Associated Press article about the national security angle, and they just say unexplained national security reasons. And they also say that this organization, the National Trust for Historic Preservation, that they have no standing to sue, which is interesting, right? Because when this news first broke that this ballroom was going to happen, and then I was going to say deconstruction, but demolition happened almost immediately. People were saying, whoa. There's a process here. This is not your house. This is the people's house. It's a historic building, and it is. And there's a whole line of things that you need to do to get approval to be able to do this. And they're just saying, so sue me. So they did.
Right. So when you talk about standing, there are certain groups who can and can't bring a lawsuit. You have to have some skin in the game, a dog in the fight, whatever you want to call it.
Sure.
I can't imagine the National Trust for Historic Preservation not having the appropriate standing, because that seems to be their mission, is historic preservation. So I don't know who else could have challenged it.
Right.
You and I couldn't file a lawsuit saying, hey, well, maybe we could have. It's everybody's house. It's the White House, but the national
class action suit.
Yeah, the National Trust seems to make the most sense.
Yeah, again, this is another interesting one. And if you remember, the East Wing, underneath the East Wing is a bunker, and it's maybe that's that, right? The East Wing was on top of an emergency operations bunker for the president. And so one of the people in the administration, he's the deputy director for the U.S. Secret Service, he says even a temporary halt to construction would, quote, consequently hamper the agency's ability to fulfill its statutory obligations. I mean, I don't know.
So I don't know what you do, though, because it's torn down, and it probably should not have been without some notice, a little bit, some expert review, public hearings, whatever you want to call it. But it's down. The damage is done. And so the Trump administration is going, let's just build the new ballroom. And people are saying, time out, wait. But you can't do that when you've got this whole wall exposed. You've got to do something. You can't just put plastic over it and hope that it's going to.
I don't even, to be honest, I don't know if there is a hole
right.
or if it was just a separate wing. I don't know. But I do know this. The architect, the lead architect, was replaced this month in December. He said you cannot build it as big as you want. And then he didn't have a job anymore.
$300 million. I mean, we know buildings, monstrosity buildings that are built for less than that, let alone a wing on a building.
Well, so President Trump wants a 90,000 square foot ballroom for about 1,000 guests. It's much bigger than the main White House. And of course, that's not what they said at the beginning. It was not supposed to be that. It was supposed to kind of mirror the West Wing. And anyway, the chief architect was saying, look, you can't do that. You can't build it that big. And then he was replaced.
Yeah. And I mean, I wonder if, even if everything goes through and the lawsuit doesn't work out, is it even going to be built during his administration?
I think it's unlikely.
This doesn't look like something that can just be built in the next 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
Especially
I think it's
with
unlikely.
lawsuits and other
I
things
think
going on.
when we first started talking about it, you and I on the show, one of the timelines said it would be done the very beginning of January 2029, and so just after the next presidential election, but before the swearing in.
Right.
But that would be like, okay, so President Trump maybe could do like a farewell party like the week he leaves the White House after he finishes his second term. Like, I don't know, right? But it's not possible. You're right. They're not even talking about construction, above ground construction, until sometime later in the spring. And that would be at the earliest.
And the president does host foreign dignitaries, does host a lot of events where there probably is the call for a ballroom or something like that. I mean, I don't know that the size of this one just seems, I think you said the square footage.
90,000.
Right.
90,000.
And it can hold up to 1,000 people.
Mhm.
I don't know that the administration puts on an event for something like that. I can't even imagine the security concerns having 1,000 people come into the White House for dinner. I mean, that's got to be that. I mean, you can do security for anything, but
You can have a masquerade ball. That would bring up some interesting security challenges, right?
That's great.
Yeah, it's interesting. So I'm looking at the White House briefing from July when he says he wants to build this, and he says it would. This is the official announcement from the White House that the previous seating capacity for the East Room was 200. This would bump it up to 650. Now we're here in 1,000. And at the time, this was July, it was approximately a $200 million structure. Now they're saying a $300 million structure with room for more people.
And the lawsuit is filed to stop the project. Of course, the damage is done. There is I mean, it looks awful the way it looks right now, but that's always happens with demos. And the administration saying, no, we had a good reason to do this, and part of it includes public safety without articulating what that was. But a judge is going to have to decide. And it's not whether or not it's going to be built. Right now, they're asking for, the plaintiffs are asking for a restraining order saying stop the project right now until we can get to the merits of the case, and those preliminary injunctions that we talk about so much in Utah. I think that's what the case is at this point.
We have a texter who asked us, why does that ballroom cost $300 million? From the looks of it, I would estimate $100 million. Where's the money going? I don't know. Gold plating, I'm sure, is part of it. And then we do have another texter saying he's probably thinking of a third term. You know, it's not legal. It's not okay according to our Constitution, but there have been conversations about him running again in 2028.
And I think they're going to get more and more serious as we get closer to 2028.
I don't know. I don't think he's going to run again, but I guess you can hold me to that.
Right.
Okay, so this was another really interesting study. Did you know that the brain can rewire itself throughout the lifetime?
I did not.
I kind of figured that, like there was a couple of times where it does that. Well, Lois Collins with the Deseret News wrote an article about the different times, and the last time your brain rewires itself was much, much later, much older than I thought it was. We're going to talk with her when we come back.
You know, most diets will help you lose a few pounds, but Soda weight loss will help you lose years. I lost 37 pounds on the Soda weight loss program 3 years ago, and I feel younger than I've felt in decades. And it's not because of how I look, it's because of how I feel.
But you do look younger,
Thank
too.
you.
I let go of 70 pounds in 5 months, and then I looked at the before and after pictures of myself and was like, wow.
It's something when you don't have to carry all of that excess weight around. And I was at a stage in my life where I didn't want to add drugs to my regimen. I wanted to reduce the number of medications I had to take. So the nutritionist at Soda Weight Loss taught me how to have a healthy relationship with food.
And it was so helpful that I could text my nutritionist anytime I wanted to for advice, which helped me learn what I needed to know so that I could keep it off. And right now, this is the perfect time to join, because if you join now, your partner joins for free. It's the perfect gift for both of you.
It's at Soda Weight Loss.
SOTAweightloss.com, because soda is, say it with me, Amanda, state of the art.
Are you within 3 years of filing for Social Security? You've heard about delaying your benefits to get a bigger benefits check, right? But guess what? That could be a huge mistake. When you consider your taxes, Medicare premiums, and other benefits, you could potentially get more income by filing early. Find out the precise timing that could get you the most money possible with a free, customized Social Security analysis from Boss Retirement Solutions. If you've saved more than $300,000 and have not filed for Social Security, schedule your free analysis now by calling 801-896-9622. Don't leave one dime on the table that's rightfully yours. Schedule your free analysis now by calling 801-896-9622. That's 801-896-9622.
Boss Retirement Solutions is not affiliated with the Social Security Administration.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline Nasal Spray.
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick, and it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks Vapo Stick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks vapors when you need more comfort for yourself. Use as directed.
See traffic on KSL News Radio, sponsored by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. We do have traffic stopped in Provo Canyon. Delays are both east and westbound on Highway 189 approaching Deer Creek Reservoir if you're traveling between Utah and Wasatch counties. Now, we do know that starting Thursday, there are planned closures of Highway 189 in this very spot as crews are going to be working on excavating and working on the road and area there by Deer Creek. However, I'm looking at westbound traffic. They've just released them. They're starting to move again now. These delays will probably take another 5, maybe 10 minutes to clear out. Wasatch Front businesses and property managers. GoPave Utah provides all asphalt repairs for your parking. For patching and paving along the Wasatch Front, contact GoPave Utah. GoPave Utah. GoPaveUtah.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
It's the time of year when family gathers and we spend more time inside our homes. The last thing you want to worry about is the health and cleanliness of your carpets. With the rush of the holidays, no one has time to tackle that job alone. So let Zero-Res Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning handle it for you. Most people don't realize the impact carpets can have on your health. Trapped dust and debris affect the air you breathe and the way your home feels. Zero-Res uses patented technology with no detergents or harsh chemicals, which leaves your carpets cleaner for longer and safe for kids and pets. And if you're not satisfied, they'll re-clean any areas for free within 30 days. Right now, you can get 3 rooms clean for $129 when you mention KSL. Refresh your home before the holiday craziness. Call 866-ZERO-RES or go to Zero-Res.com. Spelled the same forwards or backwards. Zero-Res is the right way to clean.
Getting help with electrical repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
And expanded Inside Sources.
All right. Did you know that the brain can rewire itself throughout your lifetime? We talked about that. Look, this is one of the things I heard, and I've heard for a long time, that kids don't grow into their full brain, their full cognitive abilities until they're about 25. And it's one reason that I can explain sometimes my teenagers' behavior. It's like, well, they don't have their full brain yet, but that might not be accurate.
Well, it's kind of accurate. That isn't debunked.
There we go. So Lois Collins, say that again. It's kind of accurate.
It's kind of accurate. That isn't debunked.
Okay.
It's just that there are 5 distinct stages of brain rewiring. Starts with birth to about 9 years old, and there's a little bit of wiggle room. It's not like on your 9th birthday.
Right.
That phase
Right.
But 0 to 9, you've got tons. Babies have tons and tons of synapses, and in that first 8 or 9 years, the things that you have emphasized and used your brain for are the ones that survive, and the rest get kind of whittled away.
Is that where you get kids, maybe, sorry to interrupt, language learning, right? So we know that babies can distinguish all language sounds when they're little, but they start to drop off ones they don't use. Is that where that happens?
The things you don't use, you start to do, which is why babies that are deprived of touch and love, and it changes their lives, it changes their brains. And they're bonding. So anyway, that's the first phase. That's the baby phase.
0 to 9.
Then you go into the to the adolescent phase, which is 9 to 32.
Oh, wow.
Which is a pretty long phase. And that is, like you said, it's in that period that the brain really finishes. It starts compartmentalizing, and your white matter and your gray matter are growing, and your brain is really developing. And it does finish sort of the structural development by about 25 or 26. Then the next phase is 32 to 65, and that's your adult phase. And that's when your brain really compartmentalizes things. And it's a pretty steady phase. A lot of people say your personality is pretty well fixed, your interests are somewhat fixed, personal traits are somewhat fixed in that phase. And there's supposedly some truth to that. Then
Can I ask you just to follow up on that?
Yeah.
What do you mean by compartmentalize, that your brain is compartmentalizing?
So the different sections of your brain have different jobs. Like there's the executive function part of your brain. There's it has certain things, decision making, sense of direction, that kind of thing, mapping. Those become stronger and more connected to parts of the brain. And when they do MRIs, they can see what's lighting up at which times with that. So that's compartmentalized. Then you get into the early aging phase, which is where Greg and I are. We don't love it.
I'm getting close.
We don't love many things about all the things they say about those of us that are
Right.
65 and older. That's the early aging phase. And your brain is no longer growing. It starts a little bit of shrinking, but you can still do things to make your brain grow. You can actually... You're still learning things, hopefully. You're still doing exciting things, having hobbies, working, whatever, and you're building still in your capability. And then at about 83 years old, you enter the late aging stage. And at that point, that doesn't mean that life is over and your brain's no longer functioning, but what it does mean is that it's starting a slow sort of downgrade. It's starting to slip a little bit.
Yeah. How did you get this? What is this study from? I mean, I've never
So
heard. These
the study,
numbers are pretty interesting.
The study was done by the University of Cambridge, and they did 38,000, it was 3,800 MRIs of people from ages 0 to 90, specifically looking at patterns based on age, and they found that it was pretty consistent, that what was happening to the different brains at different ages under this MRI, and that's how they identified that there are what they call 5 stages and 4 turning points. So the first turning point is when you're 9, and that's when your brain shifts how it's rewiring, and then it goes on through the other ones that we discussed. So they call it epochs as well. So it's kind of interesting, and it makes sense if you think about it.
Sure it does.
It's
I have to
super
imagine.
interesting.
Yeah, if you had a child that had a serious brain injury during those first 9 years, and I know this is a question that probably for medical personnel, but that would really, I mean, anytime you have a brain injury, it's a problem. But you would wonder about future development and at what point you've done something that may be irreversible.
And injuries can be like a car crash or hitting the head with the ball, but they can also be something like a high fever.
Right.
So there are lots of insults to the brain that can change things, but they don't necessarily. The brain is really pretty magical. When you think about all the things that brains let us do, they're pretty magical, and they're pretty magical too in their ability to do their own workarounds. So with physical therapy, occupational therapy, with effort, you can retrain. Even if one part of your brain is injured, you can often retrain a different part to take over the function. There are, of course, things you can't retrain out of. You can't retrain your brain if the connection between your eyes and your brain is somehow severed. You're not going to be able to retrain your brain to see. But as far as the thinking part of it, you can do a lot.
I wonder if you could talk more about the adolescent phase lasting up to age 32, right? Because I was like married and had a bunch of kids by the time I was 32.
Hey, I have kids that are 27 and 28, and I totally believe that the adolescent phase can last up. I hope they're not listening. Can last up to 32, but that's just a period where your brain itself is compartmentalizing and growing, and growth is a part of it. The fact that your white matter is still growing and the connections in your brain are still forming. Personality is still forming, all of those things. It's really a growth period. It's not we kind of joke about adolescence not necessarily being a huge growth period, but it is.
Yeah.
So you and I are in the early aging
Yes,
phase.
but we've got time. We've got lots of years in that phase.
Yes, until we're 83. But that's coming. But I mean, that's a part of that's a time in your life when it's not necessarily you're going into some.
It's like mostly retired, retirement era.
But I
maybe.
mean, it's not like that's when dementia starts or something. I mean, those are things that
No.
are independent of what we're talking about here.
No,
but the
that's-
brain's not continuing to grow, is what you're saying.
Yeah, the brain is not continuing to grow, and you're probably maybe doing new things. Say you're in retirement or whatever, you're doing some new things, but you're sort of doing the things that already interest you.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not suddenly deciding that for most people, that you're going to go back to medical school or
Right.
something, you know.
You never know.
Yeah, no. That makes perfect
I
sense.
said most people.
Right,
I know.
yes.
What kind of additional research did this spark, right? Are people talking about what's next that they're looking at?
So they talked about trying to figure out a little bit more brain mapping. This is like a big brain mapping project. And it's interesting because when I looked at the picture that went with the article, it looked like somebody had taken crayons to a head of broccoli.
Yeah.
It was
I
kind of
can
interesting.
see that.
It was kind
DesertNews.com, yeah.
the way that it had kind of lit up was interesting. There is so much brain research going on. I mean, Ohio State had just done another study. We're learning a lot about how the brain works. We're still struggling to figure out everything we need to know about neurocognitive decline, whether it's Alzheimer's or some of the other neurodegenerative illnesses. But we're learning all the time about the brain, and it's kind of an exciting frontier, and it's certainly an important one.
We've only got about a minute left, Lois, but I was a little bit surprised at the adolescent age range because we've often thought, those of us in the criminal justice system, that the brain is sort of continues to develop until you're about 25 or whatever, but you're talking about a range 9 to 32, which is and I know it's a little different question, but it's an older age than I was expecting.
It's older than we think.
Right.
I think, and I'm not a doctor, I just like to pretend, but I'm not a doctor in any way. But what I think they were saying when I read this study, what it said to me was that your brain itself is molding in different ways. It's the compartmentalization of sections of your brain. It's the growth of the white matter and the gray matter. And it's more about the actual brain structure and rewiring than it is about like whether your kid behaves or makes bad decisions or that kind of thing.
Right.
So I think that's really what they're talking about. And that continues. And that, I don't know, if you think that 26 is the age when your brain finishes developing and somebody says, no, it's still doing some things 5 years later, I don't find that surprising.
Right. I always love talking to you. Every time we bring you in, I learn something new.
Lois Collins.
Yeah, thanks, Lois. When we come back, we have some developing news. We're going to follow up on a lot of the stories we've been talking about today. We'll start at Brown University, where the manhunt is going forward. We'll go to Seattle, where there's relentless rain that's breached a levee. And we may even talk about the homicide case involving Reiner and his son, Nick. We'll be right back.
11:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Claire Scott. KSL's top story this hour. A man is accused of stealing thousands of dollars worth of medical equipment from a Lehigh hospital. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis reports.
Police say in the span of 2 weeks, Jason Bronner took over $25,000 of medical supplies from Holy Cross Mountain Point Hospital. He would come in at night wearing scrubs and a surgical mask. Police found he got into several badge-restricted areas because the doors had been taped open. NBC Los Angeles reports he took over $100,000 worth of supplies from at least 3 hospitals there.
Bronner had been on parole for taking supplies from Heber Valley Hospital in 2023. Rocky Mountain Power says an outage impacting nearly 19,000 customers in Salt Lake County should be over. It says it was a technical issue in Mill Creek that has now been resolved. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. A lawsuit seeking to stop construction of the new White House ballroom is before a judge today.
The National Trust for Historic Preservation argues that no president should be able to tear down parts of the White House or build additions without expert review, public comment, and approval from Congress. In its filings, the administration insists the president has the legal authority to construct the ballroom And with the plan still not final, the White House says it will seek the input of planners before above-ground construction starts in April. The court papers also have the Secret Service warning of potential harm to national security if the project is halted.
ABC News national correspondent Stephen Portnoy reporting. Your money at this moment. The Dow is down 379 points. The S&P is down 46 points. And coming up, possible showers tomorrow. KSL weather is next. KSL News time 11:32.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/radio for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/radio for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/radio. See representative for warranty details.
Friday, join KSL News Radio and NPS from 10 to 1 as the movie show stops by. Then browse and uncover what makes NPS so great. With 4 locations, NPS takes in new inventory every day. Then they check all competitors' retail pricing before marking items down 20 to 70% off. So you're invited to visit the movie show Friday 10 to 1. And that's the first step to discovering NPS. Visit npsstore.com to begin your own NPS adventure. NPSstore.com.
Attention Jazz Nation. We know you've been waiting on the edge of your seat, and the time has finally arrived. All tickets are available now. Let's go! Your favorite players will be back on the court, bringing the energy all season long. Whether you're looking for season tickets, mini plans, or single game matchups, there's a perfect option for every kind of fan. Show up loud and proud at Delta Center this season. Don't miss your chance to be part of the action. Buy your tickets today at utahjazz.com.
So Pure Talk just had their best year ever and asked me if I'd like to thank their customers on their behalf for being so awesome. I said sure. It's important to say thanks, especially this time of year, which is why, as one of their many satisfied customers, I should probably thank Pure Talk first for keeping their customer service in this country and for providing hundreds of American jobs. I appreciate that. I also appreciate their Roundup program, which makes it easy to support America's Warrior Partnership and join the fight against veteran suicide. And I love that Pure Talk donated 1,000 hand-sewn Made in America flags to veterans around Independence Day. And of course, I really appreciate their generous support of my own foundation, MicroWorks, and their commitment to help us train the next generation of skilled workers. Having said all that, it's now my pleasure, on behalf of everyone at Pure Talk, to thank you sincerely for choosing to do business with an American wireless company that actually stands for something. And one more thing. Merry Christmas.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. Here's Ricky Meese.
Well, good news. Traveling between Utah and Wasatch counties, Highway 189, where traffic had been stopped both directions by Deer Creek and caused big delays. Traffic moving through the area once again, and those delays have cleared. All of your Valley freeways seen a good drive with no problems reported. From now through December, earn triple points with a rewards visa from Cypress Credit Union. Shop for everything on your wish list and earn points to redeem awesome rewards. Start your application today at cypresscu.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
We're expecting rain and wind to move in tomorrow and disperse the inversion settled over the Salt Lake Valley. Temperatures remain in the low to mid-50s through the rest of the week. Right now it is 43 and mostly cloudy. I'm Claire Scott from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
As of right now, there is still no suspect in custody as the manhunt for the Brown University shooting suspect continues. As we know, a person walked into an assembly hall at Brown University Saturday afternoon around 2 o'clock. Students were studying for finals there. A shooting took place. 2 students were killed, 9 injured. A manhunt has begun and has been going now really for 4 days, but they don't have anybody in custody yet. We do want to get the latest from News Nation's national correspondent Jessica Cartalia, who's at Brown University in Rhode Island. Jessica, thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me. Yeah, this has just been an incredible 4 days. I just spoke with a professor who was proctoring a final inside of the building. That's the engineering building during that shooting. He said that he fled as soon as an alert went out on his phone. Now they can't get back into the building to get their personal belongings because there is still, a crime scene tape around the perimeter, and the FBI is still combing through the building looking for evidence. Really the big question here today is why the video that we are seeing of a person of interest is not coming from the campus when there are multiple surveillance cameras throughout the campus, including 2 right in my line of sight outside of this engineering building. The FBI is hopeful that someone will see the new video that they're releasing and recognize this man as he's walking through a neighborhood here in Providence. They also are offering a $50,000 reward for information that could lead to a suspect and an eventual arrest. Investigators are also working to reconstruct that person's movements before and after the attack. The video that we keep seeing on the news is from 2 hours before the attack, around 4 o'clock on Saturday afternoon. Police are urging anyone who was on Brown's campus the day before and the day of the shooting to come forward because they say that somehow the gunman was familiar with the building. He knew that during finals week, the buildings would be unlocked.
Do we know anything about how he was able to get the weapon into the building? Did he just carry it in? How did that happen? Do we know?
Yeah, so we're hearing that it's a smaller weapon, so it could have been, inside of his jacket. The surveillance video that we're seeing from those 2 hours before, he's kind of wearing like a fleece jacket. He's got a mask on. If this is the person, I stress that they have not been getting a lot of leads here, but it could have been, under his jacket. It was not like a huge, long gun, so to speak. It was like a 9mm. They said he fired multiple shots. It was a handgun. There is so much here that we don't know. And in news, we're always saying we're working to find out. We're attributing everything to officials. They don't have a lot of leads to go on. The other thing that is difficult is Rhode Island is a small state, but I-95 runs right through the state. So at this point, this person of interest, whoever it is, could be anywhere. And Brown University officials say that they are significantly enhancing their campus security. There has been an increase since this incident of swatting calls and reports of threats, which have turned out to be unfounded. And the Rhode Island governor, Dan McKee, is also ordering a major review of school safety measures statewide. That's not just for colleges and universities, but also for high schoolers, for middle schools, for elementary schools as well. And, as recently as just yesterday afternoon, which was 48 hours after the shooting, we still saw FBI searching through the bushes outside of the building, going into the building. So as new information comes in, they just keep expanding their search.
Last question, Jessica, but what do we know about what's actually happening at the campus? Everything's canceled for the semester? We're done?
Yeah, so everything is canceled. Finals were supposed to be this week. Most of the undergraduate students have now headed home. I actually had a former student who is now a student here. They said they all just wanted to get out of here. So as soon as they could get some flights, they were out. We had a lot of weather here over the weekend as well. So that made, flying difficult and the roads difficult. But a lot of graduate students who still live in town, we've been trying to speak with them as well. Many of them are just so distraught. The 2 students, Mohammed Umarzakov, he was an 18-year-old. He was from Virginia. And then a sophomore, Ella Cook, She was from Alabama. We have just heard that they were both really great people. He wanted to be a neurosurgeon. She was a pianist and very involved in clubs on campus. But yes, in answer to your question, all classes and exams at Brown have been canceled.
Thank you so much. That was Jessica Cartalia, who is News Nation's national correspondent on the ground at Brown University in Rhode Island. We're going to go all the way over to the other side of the country to Seattle, which, if you haven't heard, there has been massive rain and flooding out there in Washington State. We used to live there. The relentless rain has breached a levee. It's forced evacuations, flood warnings. We're going to check in with James Lynch. He's a reporter from our sister station, KIRO News Radio in Seattle. Thanks for joining us, James.
Thank you for having me.
Tell us where the situation is now. Is it continuing to get worse? Has it subsided? Or what's going on there now?
Well, right now we are unable to get down to the area where this breach happened. It led to a level 3 go-now evacuation order for around 220 families near Butte Road and 3rd Avenue Southeast in Pacific. Now, Pacific is south of Seattle, just north of Tacoma, kind of right there in the middle in Pierce County. Emergency management officials say a HESCO barrier made with huge sandbags failed. Some people believe that a tree may have fallen on that barrier that was on the banks of the White River that helped shore up that levee, and those have now failed. The National Weather Service issued a flash flood warning, and people in the area were urged to move to higher ground. Now, we don't know exactly how much water is flowing through that breach or how long repairs will take.
So can I ask you, what is the weather forecast right now? Is there more rain still on the way?
We do have more rain on the way. The good news for us is this flooding was caused by heavy rains in the Cascade Mountain Range. Temperatures are still high there, so the snow level was extremely high. And rather than having the snow at this time of year, which people want in the mountains, there was rain. And that rain just flowed down the mountain range into these rivers that are in this area and have flooded areas and compromised levees.
James, you talked about evacuations, and you mentioned 220 families. Is that the extent of the evacuation, or has it gone further into different areas?
No, that is the extent right now. It started early this morning when I got here about 4:30 Pacific time. It started around 100 families. That eventually was expanded to what we're told is 220 families in that immediate area. So far, that evacuation number has not gone up. But that doesn't mean that it won't. They say they are assessing the situation constantly, and if more evacuations are needed, they will let the people know who need to know it.
Have there been any casualties so far?
Not here at this location. We do have one fatality, what appears to be the first flood-related fatality in Washington State, north of Seattle. That is in the Snohomish area, where our reporter Luke Ducey reports that it appears that a car drove around road closure signs and into a ditch and into 6 feet of water. They brought him out, tried to perform CPR on him, but he was pronounced dead at the scene. Now, Luke also reports that a neighbor there close to that location says early this morning he saw some young teens or maybe early 20s just kind of messing around in that area. He reports that they knocked over the road closure sign. So it is possible that this driver may not have known that there was danger ahead and just drove right into the water. We don't know that for sure. Only the investigation will tell.
Wow. Thank you so much for joining us. That was James Lynch from our sister station up in Seattle. And, I hope they stay afloat.
Seriously, that's just awful.
We'll be back. Stay with us.
Salt Lake City Fat Loss is having a huge holiday sale, over 20% off, making it our lowest prices of the year. You can start the program before, during, or after the holidays. We know the secret to losing up to 1 pound of fat every day with no prepackaged meals, no injections or surgery. The secret is our program helps reset your metabolism so you can keep the weight off for good. To learn how our clients on average lowered their metabolic age by 17 years, go to slcfatloss.com now to schedule your free consultation and learn why your metabolism may be sabotaging your weight loss goals. Go to slcfatloss.com and save now only through December 31st.
I'm Jeff Kaplan. Take advantage of this huge holiday sale with the lowest prices of the year now through December 31st. You can start the program now or after the holidays, but you need to call now to lock in that huge discount. Go to slcfatloss.com now to schedule your free consultation. That's slcfatloss.com.
Results may vary.
More than 50 million Americans suffer from a form of mental illness.
And Utah isn't immune, with nearly 1 in 3 people dealing with anxiety, depression, or another form of mental illness.
But there's hope. We can all take action to keep ourselves and our loved ones safe.
That's why KSL has teamed with the Huntsman Mental Health Foundation to bring you hope and help you thrive.
It's Healthy Mind Matters.
Find out more at healthymindmatters.com.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-292-4541 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-292-4541. That's 800-292-4541. What do you have to lose? Call 800-292-4541. Again, 800-292-4541.
The countdown is on. Christmas is just days away, and if your holiday list is still looking a little long, start at Junction Commons Park City. Wrap up your holiday shopping and climb into mountaintop savings at over 60 national brands, outlets, restaurants, and local boutiques like Nike Factory, Columbia, Polo Ralph Lauren, and Sun & Ski Sports. Plus, hometown favorites like Fulfilled, JC Country, and local gifts. From cozy apparel to unique finds, you'll check off every name on your list in one scenic stop. And while you're here, take a breather. Stroll the festive walkways, enjoy the snowy mountain views, and grab a bite to eat. Maybe even unwind a little with self-care at Park City Nail Lounge, because you deserve a moment of merry too. At Junction Commons Park City, holiday shopping, mountain magic, and mountaintop savings that shine brighter than the snow. It all starts at Junction Commons Park City. Junction Commons, where the mountains are merry, the gifts are ready, and the countdown to Christmas is on.
This is Derek Miller speaking on business. In 1986, Symbol Arts was founded with a single goal: to create meaningful, high-quality custom products that recognize achievements and celebrate stories of accomplishment. Nearly 40 years later, that same passion continues to drive them every day. CEO Greg Sanders joins us with more.
When you think of Utah's business community, you think of innovation, craftsmanship, and pride in what we make. That's Symbol Arts. We design and manufacture custom products, badges, challenge coins, medals, pins, awards, medallions, and patches, crafted to represent departments, brands, and events in a personal, meaningful way. Nothing is off the shelf. You'll find our work at Harley-Davidson dealerships, Scouting America stores, Corporate America, and police and fire departments nationwide. More than 80% of Utah's public safety officers wear insignia made by Symbol Arts, a source of pride for us. With the American Sesquicentennial coming in 2026, we're honored to be an approved licensee for America 250 products, helping companies commemorate this once-in-a-lifetime event. But we're not just about products, we're about people. Through fallen officer and firefighter programs, charity partnerships, and community events, we use our craft to give back and honor those who serve.
Symbol Arts is making a real difference in Utah, supporting public safety, celebrating achievements, and giving back to the community through meaningful, high-quality custom products. Learn more about their work at symbolarts.com. I'm Derek Miller with the Salt Lake Chamber, speaking on business.
Join Mike Stevens of Capital Wealth Advisors for Retire Right Radio, Saturdays at 5 a.m. and 9 p.m. That's Retire Right Radio with Mike Stevens, Saturdays at 5 a.m. and 9 p.m.
And expanded Inside Sources. Inside Sources.
Yesterday on our show, we were able to interview a Utah auditor, Tina Cannon, who is the Utah State Auditor. She had been voted off the island, so to speak, of the Capitol Rotunda and been told to move her offices into the basement of the Capitol to make room for lawmakers. She had filed a lawsuit to prevent that from occurring. We're hearing now that she's dropped the lawsuit, and I wanted to get a sort of a reset on this from KSL News Radio's Adam Small. Tell us what happened with respect to her movement and what the latest is on that.
Yeah, so the latest thing that I'd covered was what happened yesterday morning up at the Capitol. The Capitol Preservation Board, which is made up of several state leaders, technically the governor and lieutenant governor are on it, but they're rarely around for it with their day-to-day stuff. But you have the Senate president, the House Speaker, multiple lawmakers. The Attorney General is on it. They basically make these decisions about any changes to the Capitol building, and they voted unanimously to basically move Auditor Tina Cannon's office, basically kick her out of her second floor rotunda office at the Capitol down to where currently is the visitor center space near where the treasurer's office is by the east doors. They want to move her down there, and from what Cannon told me, they want to put lawmakers into her current office space. They even passed a bill in the legislative session earlier this year that even gave the legislature the power to do this. It sounds like it just kind of shored up what they wanted to do. It seems like this has been something they've been wanting to do for a while, and this whole time she's basically saying as part of this, you need to have an architect go over plans or how we're going to revamp, it sounds like, portion of the visitor center to give me an office down there. She's like, I haven't even seen the architect's plans that they're referring to in these boards meetings. It's a very weird situation. But yeah, they want to take her out of the rotunda and take her down to the first level, closer to the east doors of the Capitol. And she kind of talks about also why it's important for her, why she does not want to leave the rotunda area.
Yeah, we actually have from her visit with us yesterday talking about why she wanted to keep her office space.
I think that my location in the Capitol Rotunda is historic and part of the executive branch officers that are represented in that area of the Rotunda. The Utah State Capitol is to represent the people of Utah and their constitution in the architecture. And there is a strategic vision of the architect that is reflected in the placement of those offices, so that when people walked in, they literally saw the separation of powers illustrated in the placement of the offices. So it has a historic meaning as well as a symbolic meaning for the Constitution of the state of Utah. It is placed there for a reason.
Now, this case has moved pretty quickly because after our show yesterday, State Auditor Tina Cannon told at midday with Maria Shilaos why she was planning to pull the lawsuit that we just talked about yesterday.
We have pulled our lawsuit. We had filed to make sure that a revote happened because it hadn't been noticed correctly in September when they took this vote. And as the Office of Transparency, we wanted to make sure that anything done in the public's name is done in the open and in the sunshine and followed all of the legal requirements before they took this vote. So we will be pulling that lawsuit because this meeting did happen today.
So, Adam, it seems like it's now a done deal that she's going to be moving on to the main floor.
Yeah, and some things are still to be determined because, like I said, Auditor Cannon has talked to me directly about, I haven't seen the architect plans. We're not sure of this, when this would happen. Because, again, this all started with a bill that was passed this year. And oftentimes on Capitol Hill, lawmakers will pass things, and then the very next session, they'll end up tweaking things.
Right.
I'm sure Holly's very familiar with how that works a lot of the time. And so there are still a lot of things left to be determined. But yeah, I remember going into that board meeting, and the gentleman who was kind of moderating before they all took a vote to make Senate President Stuart Adams the chair of that board meeting for the given day because the governor wasn't in. He kind of talked about we're holding this meeting to go over the vote we had in September because there were concerns about Utah's Public Meetings Act. I can't remember the name of the act.
It's OPMA.
Yes. So
Open and Public
He literally
Meetings
said straight up on the record, there were concerns about this. So that is why we are holding this meeting today to where the public can be here. And it was packed. This was just a board meet. First off, I never heard of this board before. I do a lot of stuff with Capitol Hill, maybe not as much as the next reporter, but this room up in the Senate building was packed. We had to set up extra lines of chairs around this little table in this board meeting while the board itself was virtual. You had a good 50 people in that room and a bunch of people offering public comments, including some lawmakers, I believe, were both actually Republican, also voicing concerns with this. Now, I wish I could have gone more in depth with that meeting because there was a lot of public pushback on this.
You know, it's interesting, too, that the auditor says she's going to have to look at now having some kind of separation, I guess, between when she needs to audit the Utah legislature, right? Because they're supposed to be independent, but I think she's expressed that she feels like it's having a chilling effect even on her office and her staff.
I mean, she must have felt, Adam, and I know you didn't necessarily talk to her about this, that it was a done deal and that the lawsuit was probably not going to be fruitful.
Yeah, and just based off of being in that meeting yesterday, once they, yesterday's meeting was essentially a redo to where we're going to make this as public as possible.
Right.
And once you have that unanimous vote in such a public setting where multiple news outlets, including, myself for KSL News Radio, were up there, that's kind of the point of I'm sure her attorneys and her had a conversation of look, this, I don't know if there's much we can do on this premise.
Right, because the lawsuit was largely based, you're right, on the fact that they didn't
that it wasn't
follow
properly
the Public
noticed.
Meetings Act.
Yeah.
So they do, and
That's right.
maybe it's cleared.
That's right. Thanks so much for that, Adam. We have just a minute or two for fun facts of the day. Today's Tuesday, December 16th, and that means it's National Chocolate Covered Anything Day. What's the weirdest thing you ever ate covered in chocolate?
Cinnamon bears.
Oh, you're so tame. My dad has eaten chocolate-covered grasshoppers. I have not done that. I did eat termites once, but that was just so I could say I did.
Intentionally?
Yeah, actually, yeah. Today is also Jane Austen's 250th birthday, so I thought that was kind of a fun day. And then there's at least one really, really important day. On this day in 1773, there was some tea that got dumped into some harbor.
Oh.
It's the Boston Tea Party Day.
There you go.
1773. So we know that story, right? They dressed up as Native Americans. Colonists did. They went on British ships and dumped 342 chests of tea into the Boston Harbor. And you know what's interesting about that is they felt like they were taxed enough already. That's how we had the resurgence of a tea party a few years back, right? Taxed enough already. No taxation without representation. Anyway, Boston Tea Party on this day, 1773.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was something we studied in probably grade school and how it worked. I hadn't thought about it, but until you just mentioned it.
And then I think we'll probably be talking about the latest Avatar movie coming up on the movie show this week. But it was on this day in 2009 that the very first one, the Avatar, opened in theaters. And my daughter has memorized every bit of trivia and conversation about that movie. So on that day, 2009.
Well, that's it for Inside Sources today. We had a lot going on today, and more follow-up with a lot of these things tomorrow. But Utah immigrant advocates are pushing.
KSL's top story. Immigrant advocacy groups in Utah are pushing back against stepped-up immigration enforcement, launching a news sign campaign they say is about education, not confrontation.